Ball don't stop.
Say that who?
Shaq was never the best player in the league.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Ball don't stop.
No way.
It's the same logic that Gilbert Arenas used for Giannis. And he's not because he lacks skill and he lacks, he's not as skilled as Tracy McGrady and Kobe was at that time.
What?
Nah. He's the most dominant.
That's literally what he said. He said he was the most dominant, but he was not the most skilled.
Okay, hold on. Did he say? Hold on. Now you said something different. So he's not the most skilled, or
I'm sorry, I'm right. He was not the best.
He was never the most skilled. He didn't have to be. But
that's his
argument. He's the best.
You can't give me any legit logic. I would love to hear legit logic on how Shaquille O'Neal was not the best player in the game. I'm all ears for that.
Well, because you got to look at this. First of all, you couldn't hit free throws.
Okay.
That was a kryptonite. You had something that you could actually take him out the game with.
Mm-hmm.
And he really, Shaq was everything, 5 feet in.
Mm-hmm.
Had no mid-range game, no long game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at other guys, you had other guys that were more skilled than Shaq, but he was just so big and strong.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq could do anything with you. But then when you put him against guys like Hakeem,
mm-hmm.
skilled big men that could take him away from the basket and expose him a little bit,
mm-hmm.
he did have problems. But Shaq dominated the era because he was so big and so strong.
Right.
It was just impossible for dudes to really control him physically. That's where Shaq dominated you. But, that whole time, I always was of the mindset that Kobe Bryant was a more skilled player. And just a better all-around player than Shaq. I just thought Shaq was the most dominant. Even if you went through those years and look, man, Shaq, like I said, Kobe was leading the teams in the playoffs and scoring, and then they get to the finals, and they had a weak big man, and then Shaq would just dominate the weak big man in the East and get the NBA Finals MVP. But if you really look at it, a lot of those years, Kobe was leading the team in scoring, going through the playoffs. He was doing a lot of the heavy loading in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, when Shaq was playing against those hitters in the Western Conference, he wasn't dominating the same way he did when he got to the NBA Finals and was playing leftovers like Todd McCullough and dudes like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the old Dikembe Mutombo. Because in the West, he was going against the hitters in the West.
Right.
So that's what I think.
Now, with that being said, so let's rewind the clock a little bit. So we'll start the conversation with Shaq did add a 12 to 15 foot fall away in his game. He had that over the left shoulder. That was money. I watched him do it against Mutombo all night. In fact, I'd never seen him. That was absolutely a 12 to 15 foot fall away, no doubt. Add that to the fact that we're talking about a game at that time. You talking about the game today. Guys don't shoot the long ball. Big men didn't shoot the long ball back then. That was the game. So the big man played in the post. Which big guys? Which 5 men? Which? Okay, right. Mm-hmm. David Robinson. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And
Shaq, you said that Shaq was 12, man.
Yes, sir. No way. Shaq had an over the left shoulder. Shaq had an over the left shoulder jump hook that was about 12 feet, and it was money. Absolutely money.
Shaq shot from 3 to 10 feet. 3 to 10 feet, 43+%. That's more than LeBron.
What does James have to do with this? Not really sure what James has to do with this. I don't understand what James has to do with this. But of course, we're gonna bring James into this. But that's fine. That
3 to 10 feet. He shot a higher percentage than some of the greats of today. That's all I'm saying. So he did have a medium mid-range at 3 to 10 feet. That's all. Just happened.
But how many did he shoot though?
Well, of course he didn't shoot that many. That's not his shot.
So he got a big sample size. I can go out there and shoot 2 threes my whole career, make one, shoot 50%. Say, hey man, I shot 50 from the 3.
Well, I don't know if that logic works, but when we talk about Shaq being the skilled big man that he was, even though he was a lot of force, Shaq was primarily force. I can't fight that, and I will not fight that. Shaq was primarily force, but Shaq for his size had great footwork. Shaq was a great transition player. Shaq made free throws when they counted. I remember him icing a bunch of games at the free throw line. He wasn't a great free throw shooter, but I remember him icing a bunch of games against Sacramento. I remember him icing games against the New Jersey Nets in the finals. I remember him icing a bunch of games. He made free throws when they counted. He might not have been great, but he did make free throws when they counted. Add that all up with the fact that Kobe Bryant was doing what Kobe Bryant did. And in fact, Shaq needed him to develop, but Kobe needed him to be who he was in the playoffs. Shaq led the playoffs in scoring. Shaq led the Lakers in scoring in the playoffs all 3 of those years that they went to the finals. He was the playoff leader. He was the scoring leader.
42%. 42% of his shots were 3 to 10 feet.
I mean, you get to the finals, you average 37. Obviously, your average will come up for the whole playoff.
He did that one time.
Once look at a lot of the series, Kobe Bryant was leading a lot of them series and scoring in 7 when they got to the finals. He
did that one time, by the way. That 37, that 36. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Skilled, but to say that Shaq was never the best player ever.
Can't hit it.
Yo, I want to hear from you on this topic. Nah, I mean, it's before we get into the show.
Obviously,
yeah, he was. I mean, he was like Shaq was very clearly the best player. I just, it was based off of the whole like skilled, non-skilled, all that type of stuff. Right? The same thing that Gilbert was saying about Giannis a week or two ago. It's just weird to me. Like I understand what they're saying, but like at the end of the day, but the point of the game is to put the ball in the basketball and prevent the other team from going at it. It's weird when you do that, and like if somebody struggles at doing that and they're not skilled enough, then that shows how bad they are. But if the other ultra skilled guy doesn't do that, then it was just a bad series, or it was really great defense, or it was da 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 da. But if Giannis struggles or Shaq struggled, then see that's proof that they weren't skilled enough. This is why they're not the best player. Kobe, T-Mac, Durant, all these Kyrie Irving has struggled tremendously post LeBron in the playoffs. And nobody doesn't say anything. For somebody who's supposed to be the most skilled player of all time, that some people like to say, he has struggled tremendously in the postseason post LeBron, and nobody doesn't say anything at all. That's weird.
Because there's a misconception that skill or talent makes you the best,
which makes me nuts. That makes me nuts.
It makes you the most skilled, maybe the most talented. That doesn't make you the best. And I always use Vince Carter. Vince Carter was more skilled and talented than 90% of the guys that ever played basketball. But we never talk about him as a top player. Why? Because he lacked those intangible things that skill and talent can't do for you.
Hey, that's true. But let's be clear. And I gotta say that. That's why I told y'all before the show I got Giannis all-time better than KD right now. A lot of these dudes that y'all praising and y'all put up on these pedestals, they would be Vince Carter if they wasn't stacking the decks to win championships. They would be Vince Carter. Listen, here's why I say that, and I'm being honest with y'all when I say this. Think about this. What has Kevin Durant done? When has he ever overcame adversity outside of being, say,
all right, hold on. Ticket. I'm gonna stop you there. We about to get into KD. We really about to get into KD. That's actually our first topic. Before we do that, I want to shout out everybody that's viewing live right now. We have 633 people in here. When we get to 633 likes, like ASAP. I want to shout out everybody that's subscribed. Shout out everybody that's checking out all of our other shows too. Today we have the panel, and this is us up here right now.
But Rob, make them answer that question. Make them answer that question. I want you to make them answer that question.
Hold on.
No, I don't want you to get off that.
No, we're gonna stay on that. We ain't going nowhere. We gonna get on that. We definitely gonna stay on that.
All these other dudes be if they wasn't stacking the deck to win chips? They killed Damian Lillard because he won't go play for a super team. So they say he rots in Portland, right? But what is he without stacking the deck? A dude that's out there fighting to carry his team, right? What are some of these other dudes in NBA history that didn't get a chance to stack the deck? We just talking about Dominique Wilkins. What if Dominique Wilkins got to play with 3 of the best players in his era?
You would be talking about him like you talk about James right now. That's how you would be talking about him. You'll be talking about him. We're not letting him off the hook ticket. We're not letting him off the hook ticket. We're not.
I don't think we can watch my show.
Because all these dudes y'all praising, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, dog, they will be Vince Carter being stacking the deck. Because guess what?
Vince Carter is very low.
All we see was a bunch of failure. And instead of them just going through the grind like Giannis did, they folded like chunks and ran and got their buddies. It's just like what happens when you're in school when you get beat up. You get beat up, you run and go get your boys, you come back and jump somebody and beat them, and you feel good. You run around acting like you're the king, but really you ain't a king of nothing. Because when you had to stand there as a man yourself, you couldn't get it done. So look at what Giannis did, which is why I got him all time over KD right now. Look at what he did on his own merit with a slow start. He didn't come in the league with all the Lord that these guys had. Now look at these other dudes y'all call them all-time greatest superstars, right? If they had to go the same route as Vince Carter, not make
Ron, can I address that, please?
Go ahead, Chill.
Can I address that, please?
I want all of you guys to touch down on that, and then I actually have a KD quote that we're going to touch down on right after that. Chill. What would KD be without basically going to Golden State or Brooklyn or any of that?
Well, first of all, they built that unit around KD, and they were doing a phenomenal job at building that unit around KD. But KD didn't think that he could win with that unit. After they had lost, being up 3-1, he didn't think that he could win with that unit. Actually, it's not his fault. But we talk.
Hold up, Tiki. Let him go. Tiki, let him go.
Chill do this to me all the time. He always do this. He don't hold these dudes accountable, bro. That's why I get mad at y'all all the time. Y'all call these dudes great, but y'all don't hold them accountable to the highest standard.
All right, Chill.
Here's the problem that we here's the problem that we having with that logic. Ticket, your logic is stay here and go through the grind. That's your logic. Stay here and go through the grind. But the problem with that is that I'm relying on the organization to build this around me. And if the organization isn't building this around me, according to you, stay here. So if I'm in school and I'm getting whooped every day and I'm not getting any help and I'm just getting beat up every day, stay here and keep getting beat up. I ain't gonna have nobody come help me. None of my friends aren't big enough, aren't strong enough to come help me, but just keep getting beat up every day by these dudes. Add all of that up with the fact that none of these dudes that you talk about in terms of being held accountable, James never demanded to be traded. KD didn't demand to be traded. KD played his contract. KD played his contract out in Golden State. LeBron James played each one of his contracts out in Cleveland and in Miami. He never demanded to be traded. Michael Jordan, to this day, I am 100% confident, even though he told the Chicago Bulls in '95, had the Chicago Bulls not paid him, he would have went and played for the New York Knicks for $10 million less. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. That was going on. Add that all up with the fact that they built that unit around him and they gave him the people that he needed to have in order to compete for a championship. And the same thing happened in Milwaukee. They gave Giannis the pieces that he needed. Add all of that up with them giving him the pieces that he needed. He had some things go his way also. It wasn't like Giannis was just running around with a bunch of okay dudes. He had. I'm all listening. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Okay. Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? But he couldn't get it done. He could not at home. At home, he couldn't get it done.
Correct.
At his house.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Mm-hmm.
One more game. So go look at game 5.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at game 6.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at game 7.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, this is a pattern throughout KD's career. The same stuff you see all throughout these dudes' career. They fail. They don't want to accept failure. And guess what? You talked about Giannis' team. Giannis' team wasn't really that much different than KD's team in OKC. Guess what? KD, when he went to OKC, from the time he was there to the time he left, he pretty much had top 5 teams in the NBA. He never did win one championship ever. We even saw Dirk Nowitzki.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Dirk Nowitzki down and out in a series 2-1 against LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Wade and Chris Washington prime come back and win the championship, which is why I got Dirk ranked all time over KD too. Because these dudes is cowards. They don't want to go through the grind. They do more tweeting than they do working on their game. They're working on building their heart and getting on the court and getting it done.
But ticket, why? But ticket. I'm listening. But ticket, I'm listening to you, ticket, and you telling me talking about the grind. You know that KD was in Oklahoma City for 8 years. It wasn't like he was there for 2 or 3 years. He was there for 8 years. Ticket. Not only was he there for 8 years, LeBron James was in Cleveland for 7 years. How long is he supposed to stay there? How long are these guys supposed to do this? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you guys this question. Listen, I've said this before. I have no issue. You're a free agent, which means you're free to go wherever you want.
Right.
But if the question is, who is KD without going to Golden State, without winning those rings?
Right.
He is looked at as a lesser player. So am I going to give him the full flowers for going to Golden State and winning 2 rings versus if he had stayed in OKC and won those rings? No, he did take the easy way out. He went and joined the best record team and won a couple rings. So he's somewhere in between if he had stayed and won, and if he didn't win at all. So I do knock him Don't blame him. Did what he had to do for his legacy, but it's not the same. Him winning those rings in Golden State is not the same as Giannis winning his ring with the Bucks. It's not.
I never said it was. I never said it was. I never said it was. No, they didn't. Why they cheating?
That's most teams. That's how it was in the majority of NBA history.
How great is he? LeBron James got the most trades in the NBA history on this watch. In the history of the game, it's not even close.
Hold on. Tap in, Lo.
KD had picked 3 different teams.
Lo, tap in.
Lowe's frozen.
Yeah, Low is frozen. Yeah, I think Low.
Out.
Yeah.
This is what happened. You try to come at me.
No. Nope. And we ain't missing. Ain't nobody missing in here. Nobody. No.
Join the best team. I will say this, because Ticket is bringing up LeBron leaving and stacking the deck. My issue with LeBron, again, they're free agents. I will repeat this over and over. You're free agent, do what you want, but pay the consequences of your actions, which is this. LeBron was a free agent? Absolutely. He went to Miami. Cool. What he did in the process of going to Miami, though, he took 3 teams. The Cavaliers, who were the #1 seed the year before, Miami, which was a fringe playoff team, and Toronto, which was a fringe playoff team, and he eliminated 2 of his competitors in the playoffs.
Those are not real competitors. What?
No.
They're not competitor. Toronto was not a competitor. That's not a competitor.
With Chris Bosh being the best player on that team, I said fringe playoff team, you now eliminate them from the conversation. Hold on. He leaves Cleveland. He's the best player in the world. He eliminates Cleveland. So all I'm saying is you take 2 of the best players off 2 teams and you all go to 1 with a 3rd one. It does cheat the system a little bit. I get it. They are all free agents. Wade, Bosh, and LeBron were all free agents. They're free to do whatever they want to do. But when you do take the 3 best players and put them on 1 team, it does kind of mess up the system.
Well,
for everybody else.
Tone, I don't. Go ahead, Low. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Lo, address this and then address the original question that Ticket asked: where would KD be without stacking the deck?
All right. The first Toronto was not a real competitor. Neither really was Miami, because Miami. Say it again. They weren't afraid. They didn't make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs 2 years before he went there. So they were not a competitor at all. And Wade was getting bounced out in the first round. Those teams were not legitimate contenders at all. If he had joined, I guess, the Dwight Howard, I guess you'd be right. But like he didn't do that. So that's point A. Point B, like the concept of like star caliber players or all-time caliber players being on the same team with one another has always existed. It was interesting to me is that y'all don't ask these same questions about them, because we saw
the players doing it.
For the most part, Kareem forced his way out of Milwaukee.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Whoa.
Hold on, Ticket. I gotta mute you.
Why did he force his way out of Milwaukee?
They were bad. They had a bad team.
It's not because they were bad. It's because he had converted to Islam.
No, that wasn't it.
In Milwaukee, and he felt, this is his words. He felt he would be more accepted in LA.
Add that to so the fact that the Milwaukee Bucks were at the bottom of the Eastern Conference at that time, because Oscar Robertson was over and Oscar Robertson was done, and the Milwaukee Bucks were at the bottom of the Eastern, so that didn't have anything to do with it.
Not a single thing.
Yes, they did. Well, that's not true. They were in the Western Conference. They were in the Western Conference championship. They were in the Western Conference championship. They didn't win it. Magic was the difference. No question about that. Magic was the difference. Right. However, now. Yes, they do.
This idea that LeBron should have been able to do it in Miami or in Cleveland with Mo Williams is ridiculous.
And Delonte West.
Messing that though. No, what all I'm saying is when you take the fact that you say that the Raptors weren't a fringe playoff team, they were the 9th seed, 1 game out of the playoffs. The Miami Heat were the 5th seed.
That doesn't make them a threat, Tone. That doesn't not to a number 1 seed, Tone. Not to a number 1 seed. It's not.
What I'm saying is when you're the best player on the number 1 seed and you go and join a team that was the 5th seed, and you take the best player off a team that was the 9 seed, missing the playoffs by 1 game,
yep,
you now eliminate 2 teams out of the playoffs. That's all I'm saying.
Which is fair. That is fair, Tone. That is fair, Tone.
And I've said I don't care. Free agents go be free. Go with
right.
I've said it. You know I've said that. But to pretend like that doesn't shift the power balance in the conference.
It does. It does. But
by the logic, and I understand what you're saying. But another more things. Part of the reason why players didn't leave at the time was just simply because free agency, the concept of free agency didn't exist.
Right. Free agent.
As soon as they implemented free agency in the mid-90s, Shaq left, Alonzo Mourning left, Hardaway left, like C. Webb got his way out of it. Everybody was moving. So the concept that players would not have moved doesn't really make any sense either.
Well,
Clyde Drexler was complaining before the mid-90s. He wanted out. Hakeem Olajuwon complained as well in Houston. So players were complaining, it's just that they couldn't actually move.
Well,
so
Moses Malone left
I was just getting ready to say that.
Moses Malone left. It was an MVP, joined another MVP candidate, and actually MVP recipient, and joined a team that just got out the finals in the Philadelphia 76ers. And then they went on such a run that was so dominant that he predicted that they would basically sweep the entire playoffs. So like the idea that players don't join other players, it just didn't happen as much because the rules are set in place. But as soon as they change the rules, players are moving around just like that.
Well,
literally.
Here's the thing, though, Lo. I don't think that the rules were changed. The rules were always in place. Free agency was always free agency. Once your contract was up, you got to play wherever you wanted to play. So I don't think that the rules. It wasn't.
Let me say that back. In the mid-90s, they just did. They removed the concept of signing these 10-year-long deals.
Right.
That you had no. Yeah, that's fair. But Shaq, and they also removed restricted free agents from out the rookie contracts. The Shaq.
They actually, and then they added it back.
All of them, and they could have had him back. They could have had Shaq back if he was restricted, and Alonzo Mourning in them. But they wanted as much money as they possibly could. That's also why Jordan was able to sign an absurd amount of money.
He had a 7-year, yeah.
Because they were able to change the contract structure in that middle. But when they got the opportunity to do so, they left. That's the reason why I don't like the concept of like, oh no, they never would have.
A million times free. Free agent means free. Go to where you want.
If I'm not mistaken, did Charles Barkley not ask out of Philadelphia after the 92? He absolutely asked out. Moses Malone, and let's make sure we remember too that Moses Malone, not only did he sign with the Philadelphia 76ers, who were in the NBA Finals the year before, he was the league MVP. So it wasn't like he was just a good player. He was a league MVP when he jumped on that. He jumped on the Philadelphia 76ers team. So I guess that's cowardly, even though 2 years before that, Houston was in the NBA Finals with him on that team. And then the next year, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Wait. And then not only that, year after that, Philly had made the finals 2 out of the last 3 years.
Correct.
Winning the finals MVP, not finals MVP, and winning the league MVP as well. They basically had 2 of the last 3, or if not 3 of the last 3, because Moses had won it twice in like two.
He did.
They had all the MVPs on their roster in the last 3 years, in the 3-year span. They had Bobby.
This is going on. This has been going on.
A crazy team.
This has been going on.
At a time when it wasn't even as much leeway as it is right now. So the argument, I just don't understand the argument. But the answer to his question, who would Kevin Durant be? Vince Carter is such a low bar that is pretty absurd. Vince Carter wasn't even making it to the conference finals. And to say that like Kevin Durant didn't overcome anybody in 2012 run, he overcame the defending champions in the Dallas Mavericks, he beat Kobe Bryant in the second round, and beat the league's best team with record-wise in the San Antonio Spurs. To say that he never overcame anybody is definitely a bit of a stretch.
And they were down 2-0 in that series too, by the way, that Oklahoma City team. They were down 2-0 and then came back and won the next 4 games in that series.
So to say that he never overcame anything is crazy. That 2012 run alone puts him in the elk in which to say he never overcame anything. But this is the same conversation we had last time where I'm like, what's the difference between him and Barkley? If the argument is one game, then what are we even saying? And before a lot of these other moves have been made in NBA history of people winning, I had Barkley in my top 15, top 20. So having Kevin Durant there, even without Golden State, is a very reasonable thing to say. So
Add all of that up. Add that to the fact that Kevin Durant, I mean, his team was in the Western Conference Finals 3 times in 5 years, right? And not only were they in the conference finals 3 times in 5 years, the Oklahoma City Thunder were an expansion team. They were trash. So they get to Oklahoma City, and now they build that unit primarily around KD. They were an expansion team, Tony. They got Kevin Durant with the number, please, and they became the Oklahoma City Thunder. They were an expansion team. So
I mean, you just saying they were really bad.
They were bad.
They were bad. That's my point. My point is that they were a bad team. You get Kevin Durant with the number 2 pick. You get Russell Westbrook with the number 4 pick. You get James Harden with the number 4 pick. They're basically building that unit around.
Seattle drafted KD. Oklahoma City got gifted KD. Come on, that's not an expansion team.
He didn't get.
I think you're just saying they were straight bad. They were bad.
And with all of that being said, Kevin Durant was the best player on a championship contender. That Oklahoma City team was not a good team. That Oklahoma City team was not an okay team. They were a championship contender. And in the process of them being a championship contender, there was a 4-year stretch where we had those dudes as a legit contender to win the NBA championship. So he stayed there for 8 seasons. And in the 8 seasons he stood there, and in the 8 seasons he was there. Now, don't get me wrong. I still stand on the logic that if he comes back to Oklahoma City in the 16-17 season, I don't know if the Warriors beat them. I really don't. And I always felt like with Kevin Durant going to the Warriors, he threw a monkey wrench in a bunch of legacies. He threw a monkey wrench in the NBA. No doubt about that he did that. But would he still? No, Vince Carter was never at any point do I remember him being a top 5 player. I never felt like that. Vince Carter at.
My people probably got crazy because of the stuff you were saying and jumped up and knocked it out the wall. So you got lucky because all that stuff you talking is cap. You getting around the main issue, dog. The main issue is that these dudes did not get it done, bro. Bro, we seen it with LeBron James in 07 in the finals. Everybody said, oh, he was overmatched. We seen it in 2011 in the finals. LeBron James. We seen it with KD in the playoffs. KD, game 5, game 6, game 7. When are we going to start holding them dudes accountable for that? Because I'm going to tell you something. And Fluent know this. When Giannis Antetokounmpo got swept in the playoffs, when he got beat by Miami in 5, and when he got walked down by Kawhi, they killed Giannis for that. Everybody destroyed Giannis and talked about
Giannis.
Hold on.
You're not going to do this. They did kill LeBron in 2011.
KD and LeBron, no, you're not here.
They should.
In the playoffs, he lost to Miami in 5. Even though he had the ankle injury, came back, scored 18 in the first quarter before he got hurt again in that last game and had to go. And he got walked down by Kawhi, and they was up 2-0 against Toronto and lost that series. The whole media, everybody killed Giannis. They held him, and they said he wasn't good enough to be the lead guy. He needed to go form a super team to win. He didn't listen to that. But KD and LeBron James, when they hit adversity, when them dudes hit adversity, they ran. And y'all make all
That's cap. That's cap. That's not true. That's not true, Ticket. So, Ticket, let me ask you. So, Ticket, wait a minute. Ticket, wait a minute, Ticket. Wait a minute, Ticket. I just got one question for you, Ticket. Would you put? I'm sorry.
20 minutes to answer. I just got 30 seconds. So here's the thing.
Before you get into this, we got almost 1,200 viewers in here. You guys like and subscribe to the channel.
They will.
You go get the chance. We got 2 hours on here.
They like this. So the thing that Lo had said he has KD in his top 20 or top 15 or whatever, and what I keep bringing back this point, and this is why the Warriors, those years in the Warriors where he won his 2 chips is so important, because you guys are looking at it, and Chill, you'll know this because you're of my age group. Lo, maybe not. In 20, 30 years from now, when we talk about KD, if he doesn't have those rings, we talk about him so differently. Like we talk about, like I said, George Gervin, Dominique Wilkins, like Elgin Baylor.
I just said I have Barkley in the same window. I have Barkley in the same window.
If you have Barkley there, but we're going to look at KD and say, here's a scorer who couldn't get it done. Him going to Golden State changed the way we look at KD. But I'm saying for the next, maybe not for you, for the masses.
Yeah, I said I put Barkley and Malone in the same window of Kevin Durant. They're the same window.
You know that's not common.
Even with that, even go ahead. I'm sorry, Lo. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Lo.
Even before this, I was even giving heavy pushback. And more familiar with each other's time. I had heavy pushback in the concept that people were trying to put Durant over Curry because that didn't make any sense. So I'm not to the point where I think that Durant is like the 10th or 11th greatest player of all time. He's knocking on like I don't think he's at that.
I don't think he is neither.
Other players before that, but to say that he's like between 15 and 20, I think even without the championships, he would have been between 15 and 20. Man, that's
I don't think so. No.
I don't think. I think that's the point.
Dominique Wilkins doesn't have an MVP.
No, he's not. No. No, it's not.
Why doesn't Dominique have an MVP?
And sit and
Why didn't it's actually not even about the players. Why doesn't Dominique have an MVP? It's because in those days, one, most of the MVPs went to big men. Two, almost every MVP. Hold on.
that's a fact. That is a fact, Lo. That is a fact.
Every MVP was a two-way player. A guy like KD, because he primarily is only on the offensive side of the ball, probably doesn't win an MVP because they will look at his lack of defense. And I'm saying he's a bad defender, but he's not a dominant defender. And be like, I don't think he gets the MVP. That's the difference between him and Dominique. Dominique doesn't get enough love. He was left off the top 50 list. Come on.
Go ahead. Talk to us, Lo, and then we got to move to our next topic. Go ahead, Lo. Set the record straight.
Most, not all.
Okay, so in 79, okay, in 79, Jabal won it. In 80, Jabal won it. In 81, Doc won it. In 82, Moses Malone won it. 83, Moses won it. In 84, Bird won it. In 85, Bird 6'9". Larry Bird every bit of 6'10". Bird won it. He plays in the front court. So Bird, Doc, right?
The rest of them was Bird, Dr. J, and Magic, essentially. So, yes, and Magic was definitely primary offensively. He was in the defense.
Correct.
So again, the argument that he was doing, he just wasn't as good as them. That's the simple play. Kevin Durant has to win MVP, had to win MVP over LeBron James. He wasn't as good as him. He's not. Look at the series. His best player was Mookie Blaylock. What are you talking about?
Even if his best, even if. No, you ain't. No, you not. This is so corny. This is so corny. Okay. Right. Don't forget about right. And you know, because his because he wasn't getting swept, that doesn't mean he wasn't the best. And because he wasn't getting swept does not mean that he was the best player. He was never better than Larry Bird at any point. Because Lo, this is what you're doing, Lo. I'm sorry. I'm not talking about you, Lo. Ticket, what you're doing is you're talking about two different things. You're talking about teams and you're talking about players. At no point was Dominique Wilkins ever better than Larry Bird. At no point. I'm not done. At That's not the same thing. That's not even the same thing. That's not this. Well, number one, that's not. First of all, you're turning this into something completely different. That's the first thing you're doing. You're turning this into something completely different. Putting Dominique Wilkins on the Boston Celtics. Put Dominique Wilkins on the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, he wasn't on there. And at no point was Dominique Wilkins during that time better than Doc. At no point was he ever better than Bird. At no point was he ever better than Moses Malone. At no point was he ever better than any of those guys. At no point was he ever better. I didn't say he wasn't. Just like Kevin Durant was on the level of LeBron James. Just like Kevin Durant was on the level of James Harden. Just like Kevin Durant was on the level of Steph Curry. He was on the level of all of these guys. But at no point can I ever say that Dominique Wilkins, as big a Dominique Wilkins fan as I am, that he was better than Bird. At no point can I say he was ever better than Jabbar. I can never say that. That's exactly what you're telling us.
Now we gotta leave this argument in the past. We gotta move forward. We on time constraint.
You ain't cooking nobody. You ain't cooking nobody. He ain't cooking nobody. He ain't cooking nobody. I never said he wasn't. I never said he wasn't. I never said he wasn't. No, I didn't. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, I didn't.
We talking about for an MVP caliber. We said why is it that Magic and Bird and all these other players were MVPs? They were better players.
Ticket. There has to be a ticket. There has to be a. So what's the separator when we talking about? So that's the separator. Okay. So if that's true, ticket. So if we tell Dominique, you don't have to stay in Atlanta. You could go get on another crew. You think he'd stay in Atlanta? That's a yes or no question, and it does not involve an elaborate answer, sir. That's a yes or no question. Oh, they wasn't. Knowing what he know today, if we asked him today, I'm pretty sure that Dominique Wilkins would not have stayed in Atlanta. And yes, and LeBron James did not sign an 8-year deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers when he got on on Cleveland.
By the end of your 10-year deal, you were at the end of your career. LeBron James, Game 4, NBA Finals, 2007, 1-point game, he goes 10 of 30 from the field. But they say, oh, he was overmatched, right? Lost by 1 point at home. LeBron James, Game 3, 2007 against the Spurs, Tim Duncan, and them playing like garbage. At home, in the queue, at home, they lose by 3. LeBron James shoots 30-something% from the field. Whose fault is it that these dudes is losing, but they giving all these dudes all this all-time praise?
Let me ask you a question, Lo. Real quick, Lo.
All I'm saying to my boy Chill is this. Bro, the dudes who really was grinding and putting in the work, we got to elevate them more.
Fact.
Who's taking advantage of the system.
Fact.
This is not right that we down at these dudes who was fighting, who was going through the ground like, hey, everybody else was crazy. These other dudes who got to pick their team, stack the deck, lose 6 NBA.
Lo, that's a bet. I keep saying low. I'm sorry. I keep saying low. I keep saying low, but I'm sorry, ticket. I keep saying low. But when you bring up 2007, why are we leaving out the fact that he did stay there for 3 more seasons after that? It wasn't like he left after they lost in the finals. Like, I'm gonna go get on a bomb squad. No, he did not do that. He was there for 3 more seasons, and he had to deal with what that organization was putting around him in order for him to win. Now, according to Ticket, if we let Ticket tell us, yo, you don't ever have an opportunity. If you have an opportunity to get a better job, nope, stay right where you at. If you have an opportunity to upgrade yourself, nope, stay right where you are and stay in that bad situation. Stay right there and never move. And that's going to be more, you're going to get more respect if you do it, as opposed to when you get an opportunity to upgrade yourself, you take it.
Like we on something right now.
40 minutes just trying to
we on something right now. I really got something for you guys. But before I do that, let me shout out the 1,400 viewers that are in here watching. You guys, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Now, Kevin Durant has some things to say.
Man, KD making it so hard.
He does, doesn't he? He does, doesn't he? He does, Lo. Yes, he does. He does.
All right, so
you ain't cooking nobody. What you talking about? You ain't cooking nobody.
And then he asked everybody, do you agree or not? KD replied to 2K and said, hey, running to out of 99. This has become laughable.
It's like not an 89.
I'm assuming he's trolling, but he's certainly not a 90.
You can do that. You can do a better job than me, Lo. I don't play video games, so I don't know what 2K ratings are. I'm sorry. I don't know.
My son plays 2K.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna break it down to you. Giannis is ranked the highest in the game.
Right.
As he said. At 97.
Mhm.
Not even 99, at 97. And then there's 5 more people that are 96.
Right.
You got LeBron. You got Luka's is 95. You got LeBron. You got Steph, KD, Joel, and Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
They're all 96. KD is essentially saying that he should be a 99 ahead of everybody else. So now
better than him. Who's tell me the list again? Who's rated higher than him?
Giannis, Jokic, and
James.
They're all better.
But it's Jokic and he's ranked the same as LeBron, Jokic, Embiid.
He's very lucky. He should say thank you.
I'm gonna say basically, especially because of the way they've rated it recently, to be a 99 in that game, like you literally have to be, you have to be peak level. Because even as great as Giannis is right now, he's not as good as like peak Jordan or peak Bird or peak LeBron. Like that's the only way that you be a 99. Because they very rarely hand out a 99.
What's the highest rating that you can get, Lo?
It's 99.
Okay, so 99 is the highest rating that you can get.
That's what I'm saying. You would have to be like
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like in Kevin Durant.
Right.
Knows that. I think he's trolling, but to even like waste time on Twitter.
He's lucky to be a 96 at this point in his game. Injuries. He doesn't play full seasons. He's not the same player he used to be. He's on the decline and don't play defense. That goes into your 2K rating. He's very lucky. He should say thank you.
I'm out on Brooklyn, just so y'all know. So we can make sure that I'm out on Brooklyn. Any kind of logic that you guys try to run across me, I'm out on Brooklyn. So I'm good. I'm out on Brooklyn.
They try to put Ben Simmons at the 5. I was like, all right, yeah, y'all ran out of options real quick, so I'm good on that.
I'm out on Brooklyn. And I'm out on Brooklyn simply because I've seen everything that I need to see with this team. The one common denominator is both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. When Michael Jordan got Scottie Pippen, it took them 4 years to win it. Jordan was getting better. Scottie was getting better. When Shaq got Kobe Bryant, it took them 4 years to win it. Shaq was getting better. Kobe was getting better. And in the process of that, they were improving both of those teams. They improved the Bulls. They improved the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going into year 4 with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is going into year 16. I'm not getting any more than what I've already gotten from him. That's it. And the same thing with Kyrie Irving. I don't think that I'm getting any more than I've already got from him. In the 1920 season, Kyrie Irving played 20 games. Kevin Durant was rehabbing his Achilles. In the 2021 season, Kevin Durant missed half the season because of a hamstring. Kyrie Irving got hurt in the playoffs. Last year, Kevin Durant had an MCL sprain, and Kyrie Irving missed because of COVID. What evidence can you give me to suggest that this season is going to be different than it was the last 3 seasons? I'm out on Brooklyn. I'm out.
Literally nothing. And I do mean nothing.
We are experiencing. We lost the host. We need the host.
All right, the next topic. All right, chat, pick the next topic.
That's why I be mad when y'all don't be cooking these dudes, man. Listen, man, the dudes cheating the system, bro. We praising dudes for cheating the system, man, to win. Come on, bro. When did we start doing that? When did we tell our kids it's okay to go to school, cheat on the test, get an A, have everybody raise our hand like we did something special, but guess what? We go home still stupid because you didn't really study. You didn't really pass the test. KD never really passed the test. If you look at his whole career, when has he ever overcame adversity except when he played for the Warriors? Ever. He's never, his whole career, it's been in the league 16 years, he played for the Warriors for 3. But we praise, we put down and we minimize these other dudes that was really going through wars trying to be great.
Ticket. Here's the thing, though, Ticket. I think we talking. I think here's the thing, though, Ticket. I think we're talking about two different things because I'm on record saying what KD did was sucker. That was that was a sucker move what he did when he went to Golden State. Tone and I have had this conversation. I'm on record saying that. Absolutely. But with that being said, with KD being in not Golden State, I'm sorry, for him being in Oklahoma City for as long as he was in Oklahoma City, they built that thing around him and he did make them championship contenders. Now, with that also being said, when James went to Miami, just so you know, Chris Bosh was a throw-in. Chris Bosh wasn't a guy that James asked for. Pat Riley was the one who said, "Yo, I could get Chris Bosh." That had nothing to do with James. James went there to play with Dwayne Wade, and that was it. He found out. We all knew. No, we all no. No. Carmelo Anthony wanted to be in New York. He did. Carmelo Anthony wanted to be in New York. Nah. No, he wanted to be in New York. Nah.
I thought it was Wade, LeBron, and someone else in Chicago. That was the original one.
Carmelo took the long deal in Denver. When LeBron told them dudes to take that short deal, that 3-year deal, Melo took the money, took the 5-year deal, and stayed in Denver. That's why he didn't go over there. So stop capping, Chill.
Mark, you should have taken that.
I'm not. Whoa. That first of all, that's not a lie, Ticket. That is not a lie. No, I don't need to Google it. That's not a lie. When he became a free agent in 2010, he could have signed anywhere he wanted to, but he didn't want to leave Denver holding the bag. And he said that I want to play in New York, because he could have very well went to Miami for less money, but instead he signed with the New York Knicks for more money. And then his contract after the 2009-2010 season, Carmelo Anthony's contract was up. He was a free agent, but he signed with Denver and got traded to the New York Knicks. It was a sign and trade. That's how that thing worked out. And he wanted to go to New York because he wanted to be in New York. He did not want to be in Miami. If he wanted to be in Miami, they could have worked that thing out. I'm not going to fight that part. They could have worked it out if he was going to be in Miami. Now, if you want to talk about Chris Bosh was a situation where, again, we're talking about a dude who Pat Riley said, "Yo, we could get him." That had nothing to do with James. James had nothing to do with that. No, I don't. No.
Hold on. Are you saying James didn't have to sign off on Chris Bosh?
Am I saying that he did not have to?
Yeah.
And that he had to sign off on Chris Bosh? He was going to Miami anyway if Chris Bosh showed up or not. Don't make it sound.
I didn't ask him whether he was going to Miami.
Of course he's going to say yes. Of course he's going to say it. But whoa, hold on, Tone. Don't make it sound like he orchestrated that, like, yo, go get him. No, that's you telling me that you're going to do something. I'm here getting this, and that's you telling me I'm going to do this extra thing for you. I'm not going to say no to that. No, I'm not going to say no to that.
He had a conversation with Ron prior to going. Like years
all three of them
together. Bosh said that.
I don't know, and to me, it don't really matter. All this about how they got to is if it's a team full of players, star dollar players on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, to me, that's not. There's no difference in that between what they were doing with the Lakers team in the '80s and the Celtics team.
With Jim, yes, it's the same thing. Ticket. It's the same thing. Ticket, but only except it was the general managers. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ticket. I'm all ears to hear this. Mm-hmm.
But the mentality of the players, they wasn't trying. I'm trying to prove that I'm better than all you. Michael Jeffrey Jordan he was a man possessed. He wanted to prove he was better than Isaiah. Prove he was better than Larry. Prove he was better than Magic Johnson. Prove that he was better than Charles Barkley. Prove he was better than Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to go team up with those guys.
No.
He wanted to prove he was better than all of them, and that's a fact. Kobe beat Bryant. He got tired of everybody saying, "Oh, it's all about Shaq." So what did he do? He got away from Shaq just to prove his own greatness. So you got dudes like that, and then you got dudes who go team up with the best players in the world. But their mentality is weak, and they can't physically, even though you won 66 games, 61 games, you picked to win the chip, and you
They wouldn't even pick to go to the finals that year.
Was playing normal basketball. The man went 10 for 30. Nobody holds him accountable for that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Rather than look at the-
2011, when you picked your own team, stacked the deck, you said, "Now I won that 2 nothing, that's 5 and 6 and 7," because you knew that you guys were going to team. I ain't like the NBA. He knew that. That's why he said it on stage. You know what I'm talking about?
That's part of why people look at that so wrong because that was dumb.
That was dumb.
And then you
Pat
lost.
Riley, that was bad.
And watch how dirty these dudes was, fool. They teased Dirk Nowitzki when they was up 2-1 in the series. You know what Dirk did? He did what a real G supposed to do. He held it down, man.
Everybody criticized LeBron for that.
Listen,
Right.
Everybody criticized.
The not the whole series. Go ahead, Lo. I'm sorry.
Everybody gets criticized for it. Not like even when people attempt to try to like skate that, if you pin down a LeBron fan and tell them about 2011, even they can't skate.
You can. You can.
That's
You can. There's no way. There's no way.
I'm looking at that game 4. He shot 5 for 10 in the fourth quarter. He's actually
And a birdie for the game.
Take that. Hey, Lo. Take it.
He actually played great in the fourth quarter.
Well, not.
My issue is this, though. You know, tickets trying to compare a time when ownership and GMs kind of ran the player movement,
Which they did.
and now it's the players that control their movement.
And now that's a problem.
And it is a problem because here's the problem. Good or bad, I don't like it. Some people do. Players are so aware of their legacy, and they know that if I don't win a ring, I'm going to be looked at poorly. And most of them, not all, because Damian Lillard's like, hey, I'm staying no matter what. But some are like, I need to put myself in a situation to win a ring because if I don't, my legacy is going to be ruined. And that's not a good thing. So maybe it's on us because we knock players, not everybody, but most of us knock players who don't win rings. And so in the players' back of their mind, like, I have to win a ring or I'm going to be looked at like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, where everybody knocks them. They forget how great these guys were. Most, I know, Lo, you don't, but most knock these guys because they don't have a ring. And that's a bad thing too, because now we've created this situation where it's like, how can I get my ring? And then maybe I'll do what I want, but let me get my ring.
Wait a minute, Tone. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ticket. Go ahead.
Yeah, see that ball.
Bro. And them dudes was on stacked teams their whole career. Like their whole career, they had stacked squads. And they talking all this mess about dudes who really was going through the grind. Talking about, oh, you ain't getting the same money as me, this, that, and the third. Bro, it's not cool. It's the only reason why I am the way I am, Chill. Because I represent the era you grew up in. The era Fluent grew up in. I represent all them dudes, the voiceless. The dudes like Allen Iverson, who was going through the wars, who carried the team to the NBA Finals and got a game off the team nobody else can get a game off of. But they killed AI and said, oh, all he did was a game. So important. But what would you think AI would have been that he would have had a super team and had 3 all-stars in their prime on the same team? He would have had chips too. His whole legacy would have been looked at different. But a lot of these dudes, man.
Let me say this real quick. But I think what happens with every conversation saying, I think y'all speak to, I think everybody's too consumed with these loud voices. Like everybody on this panel speak intelligently enough to understand the context of players' careers to where I'm just not going to sit here and say Allen Iverson was like not a top 50 player of all time because he never won a ring. Like, I understand the context of his career. I think the problem, however, though, is that I would argue that most players, not every single last one, because I think Dominique Wilkins is one of the very few situations where he genuinely just was never on a team that was a championship caliber. But most players get in situations where championship is a very obtainable goal, or at least making the finals. And so when you fail at that mark, then we look at you as like, all right, even when you was on this team, you didn't have that much talent. You got the opportunity, or when they made the adjustments, you got the opportunity to win, and you still did not cross the threshold of winning to a level in which we expected. That's when we have to look at you.
Give me an example of that. AI was supposed to be Shaq and Kobe. He was supposed to be Kobe and Shaq. But
LeBron, Dirk is a great example of where the threshold.
That's point. But hold on, but you can't hold that against all the other dudes because they was on
but then AI went to a team with Melo.
That's it.
Went
Hold on, and that's
no.
Chauncey Billups was on that team. No, Chauncey Billups got traded. I'm sorry. Chauncey Billups got traded. Chauncey Billups got traded.
I'm not saying it has to be three superstars. I'm saying it's when
No. It's not like that, Lo. That's why you moving the goalposts. I'm not talking about no team.
I'm not. Stop.
All I'm saying is
Listen.
better roster.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Hold up, let Lo get it off. Get it off. Go ahead, Lo. Go ahead.
He was on the team with Carmelo Anthony and Marcus Camby. Marcus Camby was making all defensive team and defensive player of the year.
Mhm.
And he couldn't even make out the first round. So even if I just put the bar of him on that team saying, hey, I need you to get to the conference finals or I need you to get to the second round, but they couldn't even get out the first round. So that's the point where even when we put you in a better situation, you still can't achieve the level of success that we expect. And at that point, there's a threshold that has to be met.
Well, wait a minute though, Tone. When Tone and Tone, when you just said Tone, when you
Tony Parker, Ronald Ginobili, Kobe B. Bryant, that's who they was playing in the first round. That's who AI that was playing in the first round of the West.
They
Talk
could
about who they was playing.
win a game. They could win a game. They could win a game off of Kobe Bryant. And they only got one game off of Tim Duncan and Tony Parker.
Right, come on. But you gotta hold on. So, but now let's go look at your boy in the East. Who's he playing? Cupcakes.
no, he wasn't. You can't have it. You can't have that both ways. Ticket. Nope, you cannot.
I've already said here and said that it's not number one.
Hold up, talk to us, Lo. Hold up, Tiki.
But I think we're just speaking about things where it's like, again, you're taking what somebody else may have said and you're applying to me. I've already acknowledged that LeBron's standard of what he should have done in the Eastern Conference should have been a bare minimum conference finals and higher. So if LeBron got knocked out in the first round, that would be completely unacceptable. But LeBron was able to meet that standard more or less, conference finals or higher. So
Why? His competition was weaker. Okay,
No, it wasn't weaker. And I'm glad.
Okay, watch this. I ain't gonna say nothing else. After y'all say this, I'm gonna be quiet for 5 minutes. When LeBron James went to the 10 finals and played the West,
I don't. That's number one. That's number one. And why don't we understand the logic that, or why don't we give credit to the idea that just maybe he was just that good and those guys didn't want anything to do with him. I'd much rather. No, I don't think so. Because if that's true, Lo, if that's true, then I got a better shot of getting to the NBA Finals through the Eastern Conference. Why don't I go there then? Why is the West what the West was? Why is it so? What?
Most of those players were drafted there. That's why they stayed there. Like Harden was drafted there.
Right.
Was drafted there.
Right.
Grant was drafted there.
Tony Parker.
They all drafted
Tony
there.
Parker. All of those dudes. Right.
So they drafted. It's not as if like they, you know what I'm saying? Like they were drafted.
Right.
It's not as if like they were witch-ball.
And I'm glad you I'm glad you mentioned that, because you just mentioned to me in the 80s, these guys signed how many year contracts? They were signing, right. So that wasn't going on at that time. So with that not going on, I could. He absolutely he did. So if that's so, if and why not? Right, because he was on a better. And how'd that work for him? Absolutely. Okay. And he went. No, you hold up. Ticket. What? They made the playoffs the year before he got there. They made the playoffs the year before he got there. They made the playoffs the year before he got there. They wasn't trash.
Hold on.
They made the playoffs the year before he got there.
When you say the East wasn't lesser than the West,
I didn't say it wasn't lesser, Tone. Let's get that. I didn't say it wasn't lesser. My logic is maybe what why is it ridiculous to think that those dudes were looking at him going, maybe I'll stay here because I have a less difficult path. If I'm looking at the logic that you're giving me about the Eastern Conference, if it was so bad, I got a better shot getting there in the East than I do in the West. So if that's true,
but who is the player that you think could have? Because again, Kevin Durant, when LeBron went that 10-year stretch, KD was on a team that got drafted. Not he couldn't leave until 2016. Westbrook couldn't leave until
And he stayed in the West.
I know.
And they stayed in the West.
I
So why didn't they come to the East? If the East was so weak, why you keep saying that they couldn't leave? Kevin Durant's contract was up. How do you think he ended up? How do you think Kevin Durant ended up in? Right. How do you think how do you think Russell Westbrook ended? How do you think Russell Westbrook stayed there? And
Warriors, because that was a team that made it to the finals.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, they called him.
Right.
Said, hey, if you join us,
right. Right. So there's only one. So there's only one team in the Eastern Conference at that time, and that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. So as opposed to me going.
It was Miami.
Miami was really good
from the beginning with Miami. So to go to the East and say, you're not saying I'm going to play LeBron. Why don't? Because it was weak. You're going to say, okay, what team can I build that's going to beat the Heat? And if a team didn't have the cap space to sign 2 or 3,
one team. So there's one team in the Western Conference as opposed. There's one team in the Eastern. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Lo.
No, like there weren't that many well-ranked teams in the East. Like Washington's not a well-ranked team. Toronto just became a properly ran organization. Philly was.
They got them up. Okay, so.
Philly was in the middle of tanking.
In 2011, Raptors were.
Orlando was horrible.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Mm-hmm.
Indiana had Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
Their cap was already
right.
Boston they were going back and forth with these drafts.
Right.
What they were going to do.
Right.
Brooklyn was also poorly ran, but they tried to do something as well. They
mm-hmm.
were bad. Chicago had money tied up between Rose, Dang, and all of them other players.
Right.
Got hurt, so they
right.
didn't sign nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlotte, and Detroit were just horrible organizations.
So
there's more properly ran organizations.
So with that being said, okay, Kevin Durant's contract is up in 2016. If I'm not mistaken, the Toronto Raptors in the Eastern Conference Championship in 2016. So if I put Kevin Durant on that unit with both Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, what does that look?
They had no money. They were over the cap. They couldn't do it. They were over the cap and couldn't do it. And again, if you were going to pick the Raptors,
I don't know if they were over the cap, but I don't think they had enough money for.
They were over. Trust me, I'm here. They were over the cap. So they go to Toronto. Hold on, but if I tell you, come to Toronto, who was just in the Eastern Conference Finals, or go to Golden State, who was just in the Finals and won 73 games with Steph and Clay and Dre, who are you picking? Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, or Steph and Clay and Dre?
That's not the point, Tone. You make that. No, it's not. You know why? It's because basically that's not the point. And the reason why that's not the point is because we're talking about the Eastern Conference being weak, and I got a better shot at getting to the finals, getting through one team as opposed to getting through 4 or 5 teams. That's the point. They basically were the Bulls. That's basically what KD going to the Warriors is Shaq going to the 95, 96 Bulls. That's who it was.
But more or less, so that was like the concept. If I go to the Warriors, I have a just easier chance. I go. But outside those 3 years, though, from the year 2000 up until like really recently, like 2018, undeniably, the Western Conference was not only weaker, but just in general, was a weak conference, especially in the early 2000s, without a doubt.
If we go back through history, the West is better than
the West in the 80s. The West in the 80s.
Yeah, it happened.
Hey, but hold on. He didn't answer my question. My question to you, my brother Chill, was, and you too, Lo, how many champions finals will LeBron James went to that he played in the West his whole career? And I don't care.
I would say 7.
I think that you honest. Are you look ticket? Are you sitting here telling us that LeBron James, who is the best player of the entire decade, if he moves to the Western Conference, and I don't know, he's on the Trailblazers with LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard. If he's on, if he's on the Golden State Warriors, if he's on the Trailblazers with Damian Lillard and LaMarcus Aldridge, no, he's not. You're asking me a question, you're asking me to answer it. If he's on the Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard and Marcus Aldridge, if he's in San Antonio with Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Tim Duncan, are you telling me that them dudes ain't? Are you telling me that in fact, this is a no? We ain't switching nobody out because you just said You just and again, you just said if he was in the Western Conference, David Stern would have did the same thing that he did with the Clippers when Chris Paul tried to go to the Lakers. He would have put the kibosh on that. He would have been like, hell no, LeBron James ain't going to the damn Lakers. Hell no, he ain't going to the Spurs. Absolutely not. He would have put the kibosh on that. No way. No way. I'm listening. Correct. So you put LeBron James young on that team doesn't mean that he's gonna win back to back because LeBron James wasn't for that moment all the way from there all the way to 2011. You've seen what happened when he was in the finals with a super team in 2011. Thank you, sir. That is not the same. No, that is not the same thing. That is not even close to the same thing. Oh my God, that's not close to the same thing. How is that?
You put LeBron on a team. You put it. Hold on. Let me finish. I always let you talk. You put young LeBron on a team with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and we're all forgetting the greatest coach he ever would have had in Greg Popovich. That team's winning. That's Bill Russell. That team's winning. I mean, hey, they did it with Kawhi. So why so do this, Ron. I got a question, Ron. Real quick, Ron. Hold on, Ticket. I got a question. Hold on, Ticket. I got a question, Ron. Right. And I got a question to you. I got a question, Ron. So that San Antonio team that won the NBA championship in 2013, 2014, right? Take Kawhi Leonard off there and put 2003, 2004 James on that team. Are they winning the NBA championship? They smoked the league. They smoked the league. And we talk. You brought up a young LeBron. You can't. This is the goalpost. This is the goalpost. This is Ticket moving it again. That's what you're doing. He was not on the same team. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. We've already been down this block. First of all, we've already been down this block. And Damon Jones.
But before the proving the point, you put a team with the Spurs that's better rated and more has better culture, more veterans, more tutelage for him, and into the league that he had in Cleveland. He's without a doubt a more refined player.
I'll actually tell you this. Let me tell you this. The best thing that ever could have happened to LeBron James is if he went to the Spurs, because his biggest downfall is that people let him be the system. And the second he's not playing or doesn't play well, the team stinks. But if he goes to a team where he has to be in a system, he's actually probably better.
Like in Miami. Like in Miami. Like in Miami. And how's that going for him, Ticket? Since you said that he's the system, how's that going for him? How's that worked out for him being the system?
Even if he goes with the Spurs, by the time LeBron starts to get into his prime with the Spurs, Duncan is already declining and he's handing the keys over to Parker. And LaMarcus Aldridge too, Ticket. I mean, and LaMarcus Aldridge. So these are the dudes that he running with. Yes, he did. They did it with. Look, wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, they went to the. Just so you know, in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, in 2013, when they went to the NBA Finals and lost in Game 7, Kawhi Leonard was in year 2. He wasn't in year 5. He was in year 2. It was the next year, Ticket, that you talking about. No, I'm not. You know why? Because he 1 year.
1 year? What we talking? Okay, so let's rewind. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that part. Listening. Here we go. Well, that's not the same thing. The reason why that's not the same thing is because first of all, well, not only that, Lo, not only were they made the playoffs. First of all, when he was in Cleveland, who was the man in Cleveland? Remind me who the man was in Cleveland. Yeah, who was the man in Cleveland? Who was the man when James got on the roster? The next year, James was the man. Year 2, James was the man on that roster. Kawhi Leonard was not the man on San Antonio in year 2 or year 3. You're trying to make this out to be something completely different. You stay moving the goalpost, Ticket. Stay moving it. Correct. Being on San Antonio. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Being on San Antonio. That's not true. Ticket. That's not true, Ticket. It's not the same thing. It's not. Because Ticket, this is what you're doing, Ticket. You're taking a 2004 LeBron James and fast forwarding 7 years of him with Tony Parker, with Ginobili, with LaMarcus Aldridge, as opposed to a LeBron James who's running around with his only constant as Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Anderson Varejao. That's who he running with. And Greg Popovich, and I was getting to, and I was actually getting to that. So not only Greg Popovich, he's got Mike Brown, who's all he's doing is give the ball to James, get out the way. There is nothing going on in Cleveland in terms of get a ball to James, get out the way. That's not going to happen in San Antonio. That's not going to happen in Portland. None of that stuff is going to happen. None of that. None of that. None of that. None of that happens. None of that happens if he's on San Antonio. None of that. No way.
Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. We got 50
I love this show.
Shout out to everybody in here. Shout out to the napalm bomb. Shout out to the Eaters. Shout out to the headshots. Yo, we're actually gonna get off LeBron, but we're gonna start talking about this today, Russell Westbrook. Before we do that, yo, Tick, I know I'm the host, but I could really jump in the panel too. It's no way you can sit here and tell me that LeBron with 3 Hall of Famers, I don't care what year it is in his life. I don't care if it's 2 years from now that they won't win a championship and they were already a championship.
That's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said, Ticket.
You could put this for TikTok. You could put this for TikTok.
I said up until 2011, he would not have went to 7 NBA finals. He would not have went to 7 NBA finals.
You could clip this.
Spurs?
Check this out. Check this out.
Because up until 2011, they had already won.
You're not hearing me.
High school LeBron. High school LeBron.
I don't care who he was on, what team he was on. I don't care if he was on Team Iran. He ain't going to the finals.
Listen. I know who Tim Duncan is. I know who Tim Duncan is. I know who Tony Parker is. And I know who Manu Ginobili is.
I know who LeBron is.
Put LeBron in middle school on that team and go to the championship.
I know who LeBron James is. Put me in the Tyson, LeBron.
Man, Kawhi was putting up them numbers too, and they still got to the finals.
I know who he is.
On that team, you gotta be the man.
I know who he is.
Kawhi was putting up them numbers. Kawhi was putting up them numbers, and they still got to the finals. Kawhi was putting up them numbers, they still got to the finals.
This is what you're trying to sell us, Ticket. You trying to sell us.
Hold up, though. Hey, I got Dale ready to get in here. But until we get the lights,
we can't handle another voice in here.
But until we get the lights up to 750, Dale can't come in. Sorry, Dale.
Hey, Lo, man. What's up, Lo? You know what? I don't think me and Lo have ever met. It's nice to meet you, bro.
What's up, man? What's up?
And by the way, I just ran a poll in the chat. It said, "Will LeBron have won a ring in San Antonio?" 87% of the people
I agree.
unanimously voted.
No. Say what they have won 7 championships.
No,
I
would
said
they have
they-
gone
I
to
said
7
when they went to
each?
seven,
I'm sorry. Would they have gone to 7 straight?
That's just that's a bad example because the dude didn't.
Because I'm gonna tell you, hey, Jill, he would have been Bill.
I think they would have. I do. I ain't gonna fight you, Lo. Even though it's not the same thing.
The better question is this: if he's on that team that goes to 10 straight finals and probably wins, like Bill Russell, are they giving LeBron the praise or Team Duncan?
They might give Duncan in the beginning, but by the end of it all,
LeBron
like
takes
by 2010ish, when LeBron
If
is starting to hit his
Duncan in the post. Oh, maybe Duncan gets more flowers. I don't know.
I know, but like that was in the beginning, 03, 04, 05. But by the time we get closer to like 2010s, when Duncan is declining, there's clearly Tony Parker handling the ball and running offense. If LeBron is in that team, oh my gosh, that would have been. That's actually crazy to think about.
Yo, Ticket, hold up right quick. I'm gonna get you. Just hold that thought right quick. Hold that thought. I just posted a poll in the YouTube. You guys go and vote. It says, would LeBron have went to 7 finals in San Antonio? You guys let me know. Also, we're at 681 likes. Dale doesn't get in till we get up to 700 likes. Go ahead, Ticket. Talk to us.
I just
I'm
unlike.
just saying, they taking away. They trying to veer away from what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, bro, is that I ain't just looking at talent and putting it together and saying they would have did that. You would have had to look at how that team fits, bro. Every team LeBron play on, everybody got to change their game for him. Them dudes wouldn't have did that. LeBron has never showed y'all that he can adjust his game. Even when he went to Miami that first year, D Wade was the man, but D Wade had to adjust his game just for this dude to be able to play well. So
and how'd that go? How'd that go?
I think that's where I think Greg Popovich, but that's where I think Greg Popovich is the difference. I think LeBron, to his detriment, hasn't respected his coaches enough to buy into what they're saying. But I don't think he could fight Greg Popovich. I think he would have fit in.
But I don't even think there would be nothing to initially fight if he gets drafted to that team.
Oh,
That's already implemented,
Right.
And they already have
Right.
that structure.
Right.
There's nothing to even fight. I'm saying part of the reason why
his game ain't like that.
he wouldn't have the same game. That's what I'm saying. His game wouldn't be the same. His game would be drastically different.
So you think? So you're telling us that James from 2004 to 11, he's the same player that he was?
No, he's lesser and this is why. Because most dudes that play with Popovich,
What year are we talking about?
He gets drafted to San Antonio.
They sacrifice their game for the betterment of the team. If LeBron James had to sacrifice all them numbers and all of that, having the ball all the time, because he normally orchestrates everything, if he got to sacrifice that, because you got Tony Parker on the team too, who likes to handle the rock, control the ball. So you put LeBron James off the ball in the corner and go tell him to play. What you think he's gonna do? All I see is bricks.
He'll play.
All I see is bricks.
No, absolutely not.
Hold on.
Absolutely not.
No.
Not the guy that turned into a
Popovich having him play like a point center. Like he knocked Rashel Nesterovic out of the starting lineup, and he's playing.
So what Tony Parker would have did? If LeBron was on the team, what Tony Parker? What would his role have been?
They both share the ball handling responsibility.
When has LeBron shared the ball with anybody?
Hey, can you dudes? I'm glad you mentioned that, Lo, because can you tell us who the Olympic coach was? Who was the Olympic coach when James was on the Olympic team? And how'd that go? How'd that work? And by the way, he was on the team with Bryant and Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony. How'd that go?
He wasn't the head coach. He wasn't the head coach.
He did it to himself. You mean the
Pop?
same team?
Pop wasn't the head coach in 08.
Who was the head coach in 08?
Coach K. Coach K.
Okay, so Coach K was the Coach K. Yeah, Coach K. Coach K. Coach K. Coach K. Don't.
My fault. My bad.
That was filet mignon right there. But let me
Yeah.
come back. Let me get the crab in the lobster real quick. So then you mean to tell me the same team that the man, the myth, the legend, the Black Mamba had to come say Yo King because he couldn't get it done that first time around. So Kobe had to come on a redeem team and get them dudes' minds right so they can win. And the United States would have been embarrassed. Cut the cap.
So that's a four. Whoa. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. 4 years later. So we got this. So we got the same dude.
Wait, can I ask a question? So you guys are saying LeBron's career will be the same if Pop drafted him?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Let's rewind it back. Let's rewind it back because this is the question I'm dying for you to is I only want to hear from Dale Rose. I'm muting everybody else that they talk. Ticket said that if LeBron got drafted to San Antonio, they wouldn't go to 7 finals.
In that period of time, the 7 straight finals, they would not have went to 7 straight NBA finals. They would not have.
Now, what? But before you answer this question, Dale, remember this now. Remember who was on that San Antonio team? James getting on the crew. Remember now.
Do you want
No, I don't. 7 straight?
Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Bruce Bowen, Manu Ginobili, Nesterovic, Turkoglu, Malik Rose, Robert Horry, etc.
Wait, 7 straight from 03 to 2010. The Spurs are going to the chip, y'all think?
No. Just going to the finals. You ain't got to win it. Just go to the finals.
From 03 to 2010.
Yeah.
Straight.
2004.
I don't agree either.
Why?
Thank you, Dale.
I don't. Because everybody dynamic changes. With first and foremost is rookie LeBron. He's not going to be the same rookie LeBron under Pop, under that he was with Cleveland. That same freedom.
We said that. That ain't news. That ain't news.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we said that.
So that first year, I don't see them with that rookie Braun Howell playing going to the chip. That, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't see it. But will they win championships? 100%. 7 straight? I don't think so. I don't think 7.
Well, Ticket is under the impression that James went to the finals 7 straight years with the same team. He didn't go to the NBA finals 7 straight years with the same team.
8 straight years with 2 different teams, and he did it 7 years after he got into the league. So it wasn't rookie LeBron.
No. I said in the East.
No, but he said 03. They gave me from 03. That's
Right.
why I used that. Okay.
Right.
No, you were right.
Okay.
At any time, do you think he would have went to 7 straight NBA finals in the West? At any time.
On the Spurs. We're talking about on the Spurs.
So he gets
And
drafted to the Spurs. Does he ever in his career go on a 7-year stretch?
And then also, before you answer that, I got a stat from Eastside, 81 GZA. He said,
Kobe 09, 010 is there.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying.
It's tough. It's tough, boy.
Just so you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, Ticket. I'm glad you mentioned that, Ticket, because
that's 7 years to 2010 though. The Spurs win 50 games every season. They win 2 NBA championships. They win 60+ games once too. So this is a team that won 50+ games every year. And
I understand that. No, but you guys are looking at LeBron James, the final product of right now.
No, that's what you doing too, Ticket. Don't switch it up now, Ticket. I ain't talking about you, Dale. I'm talking about you. This is what Ticket is doing. First he's getting on the crew. From 2003 to 2010, which he didn't go to 7 straight finals then. But then now Dale tells us, 09, 010 Kobe. Just so you know, Dale, LeBron James in them 3 years when the Lakers went to the finals, those 3 years, LeBron James got a winning record in Cleveland against that Laker team. I just want to put that on your mind. So if you put him on that, San Antonio team, okay, but
look, this is the narrative of that, because I swear, mad LeBron fans always say that to me, that Lakers team couldn't beat Braun or whatever I say. I said, they're playing the regular season game, whatever. As we all know, regular season and playoff basketball
is different. It's different.
We all know that. So even LeBron James dominating the Lakers at that time and they're not getting no wins. The Orlando Magic team that beat LeBron James in 6, Kobe Bryant beat them in 5, 4-1.
Yeah.
So we could say whatever we want to say about, but the playoffs is a different ball game.
Everybody flip-flops on regular seasons because they'll say the Rockets had a winning record against Jordan Bulls.
Exactly, right.
And when I say, but the Raptors swept the Warriors with KD in 2019, well, that's different. They would have lost if he was in the final. Well, no, but they beat them in the. So that's why I don't like the regular season thing.
Because I always say regular season playoffs are different. So the Carmelo Anthony, before he came to the New York Knicks, had a winning record against LeBron James in the NBA regular season. What the hell did that mean? It meant nothing. It don't accumulate to much at all. No one thought Melo was better than Braun or whatever the case may be, or the domination of teams.
Out his career, he was.
No, Melo should have been Rookie of the Year. I would argue that Melo should have definitely won Rookie of the Year.
Those first 2 years, he was ahead of LeBron. Then LeBron lapped him and went ahead of him after that. Those first 2 years,
there was never a point in Carmelo Anthony's career where he was better.
He was not better. He was not better than James in year 3. He was not better than James in year 3. No, he wasn't. That's it. That's it, Dale. That's as far as I'm going.
Melo should have won Rookie of the Year.
that first year, Carmelo should have won the Rookie of the Year.
That's a fact.
Okay.
He had a better record.
Okay.
Hey, guess what?
He had a better team, right?
Yes, he did.
No. They both had the same record the year before. Melo made his team go to the playoffs.
Mhm.
I'm the legend of winning right now.
Keep going. Keep going.
They're the same record.
Mhm.
They got drafted.
Mhm.
They did.
Went to the West.
Yep.
They got to the
playoffs.
Mhm.
The first 2 years, he should have won Rookie of the Year, and the next year he took his team to the playoffs. While your team was sitting at home licking his wounds.
Two games over 500, and they was right outside the playoffs. Two.
All I'm giving him is year one.
That's it. I'm not giving them anything after that. That's it. I ain't going further than that.
Denver and Cleveland had the same record the year that they got drafted. I get it, but they had the same record because everyone's going to bring up wins and losses. They had the same record. And Melo played more games, scored more points, had more rebounds. His team got more wins.
I think he's the only rookie. Tone. I'm glad you mentioned. I think he's the only rookie. I think that Carmelo Anthony is the only rookie. He's the only rookie to be Rookie of the Month 5 times and not be Rookie of the Year. He's the only rookie to do that.
Wasn't he rookie every month?
He missed it 1 month. I think he missed it 1 month. He's the only rookie. I think after what's the kid that's in Oklahoma City? Josh Giddey. Him and Josh Giddey. They're the only 2 guys to be Rookie of the Month 5 times and not be Rookie of the Year. I thought that was interesting. That
Carmelo that rookie year.
Yeah. Dale just said it. Dale just said I ain't going farther. That's as far as I'm going, Dale. I ain't going past that. That's it. 2 games. 2 games over 500. Come on, man. Cleveland ended up being.
We need to hear Lowe's rebuttal. Hold on. I need to hear from Lowe. First of all, if they weren't the same team, Marcus King only played 29 games in the previous season. He played all 72. He didn't have Andre Miller either. It was not the same team.
That matters, Lo. That matters, Ticket. That absolutely matters. That matters, Ticket.
Hold on. So when he made it to the playoffs, we had an all defensive level player on the team. So somebody's competing for defensive player on your roster on your team, and on top of that, you have a facilitator on your team, which is something that Carmelo Anthony needed practically his entire career. So we sit there and say they're the exact same team. They were not the same team. That's not for that.
Zadrunas.
He had a defensive player of the year caliber player on his roster.
No, he did not. No, he didn't.
Nobody won a defensive player of the year with Melo in the second year. But if you're going to name one side, name the players that was with LeBron James.
No. You made it seem as if like when Melo got on the team, they all made they made it to the playoffs. It's because Melo brings so many other pieces.
They won the same amount of games as LeBron won when they got drafted.
And you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. The difference was Marcus Camby was on the team the next year. So
that matters, Ticket. That matters, Ticket.
Defensive player of the year. Here's why. No, stop. Here's the bullshit you be spitting. You just sat here and wasted a bunch of time. You sit here and gave for Dominique.
Who's on LeBron's team?
Stop. You sat here and gave for Dominique talking about the players he had on his roster and all that other bullshit. Now all of a sudden, when it comes to LeBron and Carmelo Anthony, you skipping over a defensive player of the year candidate. That's bullshit.
That matters. That matters.
Let me give you the same argument. Let me give you the same argument. When I said Melo had a better rookie year, I said because he had more points, more assists, played more games, etc., etc. When you go to year 2, Melo stays about the same: 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. No, don't say thank you.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good, Ticket. That's not good, Ticket.
Hold on, because in year 2, LeBron goes from 20 points a game to 27. Better in year 2.
And why he wasn't able to win. Now when it comes to LeBron's team, now all of a sudden teammates, they don't really matter as much. He just didn't make the playoffs. That's it.
You just did, Ticket. You just did.
Hold on. This is extra rotisserie right here. So if you look at LeBron's team that second year, he's talking about Marcus Camby. Now pull up Marcus Camby's stats. Now watch this. He talking about defensive player of the year. That second year, LeBron James had he averaged 16.9 points, 8.6 rebounds.
Yep.
He also had Drew Gooden. He averaged 14.4 points, 9.2 rebounds. He also had Jeff McGinnis, who averaged 12.8 points, 5.1 assists. And he also had on that team himself that averaged 27.2. Himself. Hold on. Four double figures. When you talk about Marcus Camby, now pull up Marcus Camby.
Not only that. Why? Not only that. Ticket.
Four guys scoring in double digits.
Not only did Melo have four guys. Why are we leaving out the fact that James? Why are we leaving out the fact that second year that team improved by 27 games, and that was primarily due to LeBron James. 27 games in the next 2 seasons.
Wait. In 04, there were 4 teammates around Melo who were double figures. 4.
Like I said.
Ticket, time out.
Hold up. No, in his sophomore year was 4 players on Melo who averaged double figures.
I said in LeBron's second year.
I just said second year for Melo was
So hold on. How many blocks did Marcus Camby average?
It doesn't make a difference how many he blocked. It doesn't make a difference, Ticket. He was one of the better defensive players in the game. Yes, he was. No, we don't even have to do that, Lo. You know why we don't have to do that?
Yo, Lo.
No, not he averaged 3 blocks between 06, 07, 08. He's leading the league, but he averaged 3 blocks in 04, 05.
He averaged 2.1.
So not only that, we talking about.
Ask you a question though.
No, wait, no, stop. There's no ever arguing if Ilgauskas was the same defender as Marcus Camby.
No way. No way. No way. No way. No way.
He's a Knick to me. He's a Knick. I don't worry about it. That's my question. I'm just talking about Melo and Braun rookie year.
All right.
You think, look, Braun, you don't think Melo should have won that, or at least Cole? At least Cole.
If you want to say Cole, or if you want to say he should have won
Melo
it more games, sure. Which I think is a bit inconsistent how they go from year to year.
Right.
Not with rookie of the year. Like for it to be that close with them two and one team no matter if they had Andre Miller, Marcus Camby, which they did, and he catapulted them to that playoff. His play. So Melo's the reason still that they made it to the playoffs that year.
Yeah,
And nobody, and I'm not arguing that. Go ahead, Tone. I'm sorry.
Right. So
Mhm.
that you are totally correct on sophomore year, but rookie year, Melo should have got that, or at least Cole. Sophomore year, LeBron so good. Why didn't they make the playoffs? Why did Melo
for one more game?
Worse. The team was worse. Melo was playing in a tougher conference. I don't want to hear no excuses. Melo was playing against Kobe. He was playing against all them other dudes in the West. Tim Duncan.
In year two, to get the team's records are close within a couple. But LeBron played significantly better than Melo. He averaged 7 more points, 4 more assists, 2 more rebounds.
But why did it have a better effect on making the playoffs?
That's the supporting cast.
Was the East easier than the West? We just said that, right?
Worse. His team
What-
is
what-
worse.
That's a goddamn answer.
All right, so we gotta move on. I got a better topic. I got a better topic. 5 players, bro. Double figures.
LeBron.
One of which was a defensive player.
This man got 4 dudes who had the players in the league. His whole career.
We talking about his sophomore year.
Yes, in his sophomore year, Carmelo Anthony led his team in a tougher
Because
conference.
he had better teammates.
That's a lie. Look at his team. He had 4 dudes with double figures on his team.
And so did Carmelo Anthony.
All right. I didn't have the mute on now. We gotta move on.
Yeah.
That was kind of nasty comparing Marcus Camby, Kenyon Martin, and Andre Miller, Bill Gauskas, True
Hold
Gooden,
on. Marcus Camby in his prime? Marcus Camby in his prime?
He was in 2003 and 2004. He was in year 7. I'd like to think he was in his prime. I would like to think that.
Hold on. No, Tiki, we're done with that. We're moving on. We're done with that. Now, we about to get into a gauntlet with Magic Johnson. And I'm going to ask you guys a player. You tell me if they were more impactful than Magic Johnson. Are we all ready for this?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you can put my answer on repeat. No.
Every player you mentioned with Magic, Tone gonna say Magic. Just so you know.
All right. Well, we'll start right from the top. Y'all know exactly where I'm going with this right from the top. Magic Johnson, is he more impactful than LeBron James? I'm going to start with you, Lo.
What, the NBA or his team?
No, impactful to winning. Start with you, Lo. Chill.
Yes.
Yale.
No. To win it, right? No.
Yeah.
No.
Floyd.
I'm sorry. No.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got the question screwed up. Is Magic Johnson more impactful to winning than LeBron James? No, he was not. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, can we say the players? Can we go back and say
Mm-mm.
players for the sake of the clips?
Yes. Is LeBron James more impactful to winning than Magic Johnson?
I'll go with
Just change. Okay.
Yes, LeBron James is more impactful to winning than Magic Johnson is.
LeBron.
Magic.
Tiki.
Magic Johnson.
Just keep going. We're not doing the back and forth. Let's do it at the end.
I really wanted to
Let's go
hear
at the
that.
end. Let's
I'm
go
not
at
even
the
gonna
end.
lie. I really wanted to hear. But Tiki, I gave you opportunity for once you get right. Nah. Come on, we got to keep pushing it now.
Magic got drafted. Reed was losing to LA till Magic got drafted. But we talk about the effect on winning with all them dudes that was around him. What would have happened if Magic would have never came to the Lakers? It would have been no time later. You still know that?
Let's be clear. Everyone's confusing the question who's the better player. Impact on winning.
I would still say LeBron.
All right, come
We
on.
gonna talk about a dude lost 6 NBA Finals more past cap.
All right, we're moving to the next player. Who's more impactful to winning? Magic Johnson or Kevin Durant? Go.
Magic.
Magic.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
All right, so I'm surprised Dell said Magic.
I've never capped on questions, bro. It's a simple.
Because we all know how you feel about KD. We do know. We do know how you feel, Kate. We know how you feel about him.
Wait till the next one. Go.
Who's more impactful to win? Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant?
Oh.
Low. It's on you.
That's tough. That is very tough.
Magic. I don't understand why this is difficult. I don't.
It's difficult because if you take Kobe,
No.
Shaq hadn't won without Kobe.
It's different. Shit.
Shaq hadn't won without Kobe. Shaq had Penny Hardaway. He had Nick Van Exel. He had Horace Grant. He had Hope Grant.
Did 2006 never happen? Am I going crazy? Am I losing my mind?
You're not hearing what I'm saying to you.
But it's probably I don't know the 06 for years for Magic or like you know what I'm saying. I don't know Magic years from 1980 to 1990. I don't know his full trajectory. I don't know if it was finals every year. I don't know if he got.
He was in the Magic Johnson. Real quick, Dell. I just want you to know that Magic played 12 years. He had a 12-year prime. In those 12 years, he was in the NBA Finals 9 times in those 12 years. He missed the Western Conference Championship 1 time.
That's dope. So with that being said, then
I just want to put that on your mind.
now I gotta look at Kobe's best 12 years.
The teammates he had too. He still had all-time greats. He had
That's a fact, though.
He had all them other dudes. It was Kobe. It was going on a run like Kobe and Shaq, baby. So you know.
Now I'm glad you brought that up, Ticket, because look at the. I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. I'm glad, and I'm glad you brought that up, Dale, because hey, that's fair. That's fair. Because because it's interesting you mentioned that when you.
Kobe had 3-1 with Smush Parker. He lost it, but he still had it. I'm sorry, they lost, but I don't care. I'm gonna have to go Kobe.
That's pretty. Yeah. I'm surprised that that's not brought up as much as it should be brought up. That he was up. He was up 3-1 in that series.
That's a fact.
And they
Game 7, he folded like a baby.
like a lawn chair. He did completely folded up.
Hey, Chill, can I ask you one question?
You already did. You just did. You just asked me a question.
Hello. Hey, real talk, I got love for you, dog. You a good dude, man. Listen, I got one question for you, dog. Is that better than getting swept?
Nothing is better than getting swept. Nothing. Nothing is worse than getting swept.
Just so you know, Chill tells me multiple times a day.
I'm on record. You get swept out of the playoffs, you ain't close to winning. I don't care if you get swept in the first round or you get swept in the finals. You get swept, you ain't close to winning it. You out. I'm good on that. I'm out.
Yo, Fluent, it's on you next.
How you gonna ask me about my favorite player, my second favorite player all time?
Hold up.
Let's be real. I go with my favorite player every time, even though my second favorite player was the one that got me into basketball. But we going with Kobe.
Kobe? Ooh, that's tough.
Well, the thing that
I'm riding shotgun with Fluent because it's easy, baby. Shaquille, as dominant as he was, guess what? Orlando didn't want to give him $100 million, and he was asking for it. They was willing to let him walk, and now you can pay him $100 million at that time. So they didn't value Shaquille like they should have. And then let's look at this. Shaq did have Penny Hardaway, Nick Van Exel, Dennis Scott, Horace Grant.
Nick Anderson.
No, yeah, Nick Van Exel with the Lakers.
Hold on.
I'm talking about the Lakers. Oh, okay.
They were set to win the chip, and they couldn't get it done. But when he went to go play with Kobe, the difference in them winning was Kobe being Bryant had to be Kobe for them to win. Because if Kobe wasn't Kobe, and we've seen what happened, even after he left Kobe, yeah, he won with D-Wade, but Shaq wasn't the same Shaq. He was a second dude on that team. He was a Robin on that team. So we talk about Kobe being Bryant. You talking about the three with Shaq, the most dominant. Then after that, he went back to 3 finals, 1, 2. Got to be Kobe because and you look at the teammates Kobe plays with all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because outside of Kobe and Shaq, you had Robert Horry.
Mm-hmm.
One year it was Glenn Rice. But the
Glenn
other
Rice,
years it was an old Ron Harper, Derek Fisher,
Mm-hmm.
all the role players.
Yep.
All the old role players.
Yep.
Magic Johnson had all Hall of Famers on his squad. A lot of James.
And you saw what they did.
Hold on. Right. But what I'm saying is he still had more with Kobe. With Kobe and Shaq, it was Kobe and Shaq doing the most of the damage. That whole three-peat. And then when Kobe came back, 3 straight NBA finals. Bean got him back to 3 straight. In LeBron era. Got to be Bean.
Now, when
Yeah, because that was when they had the Kobe.
2000, 2008, 2009, and 2010. Yep. 2008, 2009, 2010.
I just
Number 1 seed in the NBA.
Yep.
No, I see what you're saying, but I just view that as Kobe era.
That is Kobe's era. You're right.
Yeah.
Kobe's era.
That's his Kobe era.
Kobe's era.
That's Kobe's era.
In the finals for it. But they had the Kobe and Shaq dolls. Who was waiting in the finals? Rubbing their hands like Birdman. It was the Black Mamba, baby. He was waiting. He wanted all the smoke, but all the marbles.
But 09, 010, that's Kobe era.
That's Kobe era.
Yeah, I think
LeBron won 2 MVPs. LeBron won back-to-back MVPs. Don't play that game.
So we're in Joker's era right now. He went back to that
You're not
era.
hearing me, bro. This ain't LeBron's era no more. This is
Is
Jokic.
Jokic
Is it Jokic era?
No, you're not. No, this Giannis Antetokounmpo.
But you just said he went back-to-back MVP.
No, I said the year that him and Kobe was supposed to play in the final, 09 and 010.
Which is his era because he went back to MVP.
Right, and I'm telling you that it was the man, the legend that was in the final.
Wait, you're right. I agree with you.
Let's just check it. Why was it George? Why was it LeBron's era? Why?
He won 2 back-to-back MVPs.
Okay.
You got it, Ticket. You can take it.
So does that mean it's Jokic's era because he went back-to-back MVPs?
No, I'm saying at that time it was all.
Jokic never. First of all, the joke. And not only that, the Joker logic doesn't work because Joker didn't take his team to where James took his team to. That's number one.
But
No.
James just took one team there, though. He took one team to the finals in 07. If that's what you want to give him for taking his team.
Okay, so let me make sure I'm getting this correct. He took a team. He took. That's not the NBA finals. And then James also and James.
You just give him 07. You just give LeBron 07.
I'm not giving him 07. I'm giving him 09 and I'm giving him 10. Absolutely, because he didn't lose it. He lost in the second round. He did lose to the second round in the Celtics, but in 09 he lost in the Eastern Conference Champion. He did win the league MVP and he did finish second in the league in Defensive Player of the Year. Kobe Bryant never finished higher than third. He did that. No, I said that I did not say Jokic. You're not gonna put those words in my mouth. They'll try again. This is what I'm thinking of. This is what I'm thinking about when I think about Magic. You talk about the teams. Okay, so the general manager, who is Jerry West, he did put James Worthy. He did put Byron Scott. He did put Michael Cooper. He did put who am I think? Bob McAdoo. He did put all of these pieces around Magic Johnson, and he was rotating these guys. Right now, anybody can train a secretary. You can screw them up too, though. So he had to get the right guy in there in order to coach that team. Magic was the difference on that team before they were doing anything, because when I look at that unit, Magic was the difference on that unit. Because when I look at when Jabbar got there, they were Oklahoma City when he got there in 76. They were Oklahoma City. They went from that to 2 years later, they're in the Western Conference Championship. and they're in the Western Conference semifinals the next year when they lose to the eventual champion Seattle Supersonics. Then they get Magic, and now they're back on top. That team was already as good as it was. Magic was the difference, and his impact on winning, I thought, was bigger. Even though Kobe might have been on a lesser team, I thought that with Magic on that crew, how much better he made those guys. How much better he made James Worthy. How much better he made Michael Cooper. How much better he made Byron Scott. How much better he made those guys. Just like Kobe Bryant. I don't think Kobe Bryant. I don't think Kobe.
Hold up. It's a bunch of people trying to talk right now. I need one person to talk.
I'm sorry.
Or Chick, go ahead.
Oh, I just said Kobe won without Shaq. Magic ain't win without Kareem. Easy work.
He got there though. He got to the. He did get to the finals without him. Yes, he did. He did get to the finals without him. Don't leave that part out, Low. That's very. And Shaq won without Kobe. And Shaq won without Kobe. So hold on for a second, Tone. Hold on for 1 second, Tone.
Magic made a difference for those guys, but you know the system changed too to allow Magic to that Showtime high-paced offense.
Speed the game up. Sure.
Into it too. So it wasn't
Sure.
just the addition of
Right.
Magic. There was a new coach. There was a new system.
Right.
It was a lot.
Now, with that being said, Tone, when I think about that Laker team, when I think about the impact that Kobe Bryant had on them in winning, did Kobe Bryant, was he responsible for making Derek Fisher what he was? Was he responsible for making Robert Horry better? In fact, there was a division on the crew on who the guy was. Magic on.
And Gravity, yeah, he totally did. Gravity.
I agree.
Max, and Kobe and Shaq.
Hey.
Got another Hall of Famer.
Yo, chill.
3 Hall of Famers every year.
Chill. Quick question though: the players you named for Magic, of course, he made them better. He was the engine or whatever the case. But do you think it's harder for him with those type of players, or LeBron with the players he had to take to the promised land?
Kobe. You took Kobe.
Or Kobe. I'm sorry, Kobe.
Kobe was definitely on. Kobe was definitely on a lesser talented team, no doubt about that. But
So
he was
back to back with that. Isn't that, you know what I'm saying?
he was on a lesser talented team. That part I won't argue. That part I will not argue. No way.
Other than
That's why I say by a hair why I say Kobe over Magic.
But with that,
he had the MVP of the league, one of the best defenders in the league in Coop, right? Like he had so much. I love that team. I love that team so much when I was a kid. There's so much talent.
but there was also.
You my boy, man.
But there was also a don't leave out the fact that there was a division on the team. There was no division on the team with the Lakers when Kobe went with there was I ain't talking about Kobe. I'm not done.
Oh well, you said there's no division.
There wasn't. I don't remember a division between Magic and Norm Nixon. I don't remember that.
Hell yeah.
I don't remember. I do remember a division between Kobe and Shaq, and I do understand what that division was.
Stop there.
I'm sorry.
So it was a division between Kobe and Shaq and not Magic. Can you imagine if them two was ever on the same page?
But they weren't though.
No.
No, that's what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you
I
can't.
guess, but
For the context we're putting it into, you know what I'm saying?
Well, actually, and here's the thing, though, Del. They work
Magic for it to seamlessly work so well.
right.
But that goes into the argument we were saying. We're arguing who has more impact on winning.
So
If
you saying,
if you impeded that process of winning, that kind of goes against.
both of them impeded Kobe and Shaq. It wasn't Kobe.
And it's obviously and
I get what you said though. I get it.
with that being said, though, Lo. With that being said, though, there's also the logic that with Kobe Bryant, not just with Kobe Bryant, they were on the same page. How do we know that? They won the NBA championship 3 years in a row, so they had to at some point get on the same page. It wasn't always.
No.
I see what you're saying,
But me personally is looking at it, is viewing this as if they was like, if either Shaq or Kobe was like, yo, honestly, if we buckle down, we could get at least 7.
Well, put this on your mind, Dale. Put this on your mind. We're talking about a team that went to the NBA Finals 4 times in 5 years. If my math is correct, that's 8 trips in 10 years, winning 6. That's what that looks like to me. Now, Magic, on the other hand, he got Jabbar on the other side of his prime. He got James Worthy when James Worthy was a pup. He got Bob McAdoo when Bob McAdoo was on the other side of his prime. He got Michael Thompson on the other side of his prime. He got all of these guys when they were on the other side of their prime. But Magic was coming into his prime, which extended those guys' careers. As opposed to when I look at that Laker team was built entirely around Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant turned into who he turned into, and he needed to turn into that in order for Shaq to win. But Shaq turned into what he turned into, and he needed to turn into that in order for Kobe Bryant to win too. Before he talking about before he got him. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't win any of those.
What we're saying is we add that plus when Shaq got him out of there, Kobe Bryant back in the 1-2
Right. Now, Ticket.
And here's the thing. And you tell me this. Who was the other top 75 player all time he had on the second run? Right? And then tell me this. Who was the all top 75 second player or third player he had on the first run? Now, I can tell you Hall of Famers who was on the first, the whole run for Magic.
Right.
But you can't tell me no Hall of Famers outside of Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, this is what this is real. I'm sorry, Lo, to cut you off, but this is real quick. I'm sorry, Ron. Real quick. I want to I want to let you know this. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to lessen Shaq when he was in Miami, because I want to make sure we remember this. Remember. Don't do that, Ticket, because just so you know, his first year in Miami, if Dwayne Wade doesn't get hurt in that Eastern Conference Championship, they beat Detroit. Add that to the fact that Shaq finished second that year in league MVP votes. That he finished second that year behind Steve Nash in league MVP votes. So he still was elite. That's number one. Number two, he averaged 22-9 that year.
22-9.
Yeah, he averaged.
Got Kareem on the downside.
Man, he was on the other side of his Magic. He was like,
Shaq.
Thank you, Floyd. You're the new James.
wait a minute, what are you talking about? Wait, what are we talking about here?
You said Magic got Kareem on Kareem's downside.
He got him on the other side of his career, correct? He got him on the other side of his prime.
MVP.
Okay, he was still elite. What does that have to do with anything?
Because now you're saying Shaq won the MVP, so wasn't he also?
And he was still elite. That's the point.
So they were both on their downside, but both still elite.
That's the point.
Okay, I'm making sure we're saying the same.
That's the point.
You think Shaq wasn't?
I didn't say that. I did.
It sounded like you did. I'm confirming with you.
I did not say that.
All right.
Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm asking you.
Hey, fact check these fools.
No, let's move forward. I posted that in the chat. Who's more impactful to winning? Magic or Kobe? The chat voted 54% for Magic, 45% for Kobe. So that's what the chat thinks is more.
I want to see if people are going to be consistent with this last name.
Okay, so the next question or person that I have for you, before I get to that, I want to say it's 1,670 people in the chat, and we only have 829 likes, which means half of you guys out there haven't liked the video yet. So some things just aren't adding up. If you don't want to like the video, then bro, I'm watching. All right, anyways. The next person I got for you guys, who's more impactful to winning? I got Magic Johnson or Luka Doncic. Low and so again. Like the video. Magic Johnson.
Magic.
Magic.
Who is it? Magic or who?
Luka.
Oh, Magic. Take it.
It's early. It's early. It's
too early.
It's too early.
It's an unfair comparison, but it's not.
No. This is the reason why I said that. Because we all know he ain't won no chip. So when he says impact on winning, if we going back to Luka's international career, I mean, Luka's a superstar. He's won championships since he was 15 years old. Been MVPs.
Yeah, I still think it's a little too early though. I just think
No, but I think his impact on winning is
it's definitely up there.
It's up there, to be honest with you, bro. And I know people gonna say, I'm not trying to say he's Magic, but his impact on winning, like if you take him off the Dallas Mavericks, they're a lot of the team.
But yo, Ticket, how do you praise Luka so much in this time, but don't praise Bron? It's the exact same thing.
Because hold on.
Because Luka didn't go to super team yet.
He ain't go to a super team.
Yeah, he ain't go to super team.
Which is happening, by the way. Let's make sure we clear. Which is happening, by the way.
I'm gonna say this. Because first of all, let's be honest. All be honest and take our egos out of this. He's had a better start to his career.
They're the exact same. They're the exact same.
No. He's had a
They're the exact same.
He's had a better start to his career.
When,
You mean statistically or wins and losses?
I think stats, they're the same.
Listen, no.
His stats are a little bit better, but Luka came in as a pro, though. You have to understand the difference. LeBron came from high school. Luka came from playing with grown men.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, let's move on to the next one. I have Magic Johnson. Is he more impactful to winning than Tim Duncan?
Now y'all better be consistent on this. I got Tim Duncan.
Who's y'all you talking? Oh, you ain't talking about me.
Y'all better be consistent. But y'all just said about Kobe. Y'all better be consistent. Go ahead, Chill.
Oh, Magic. Because I think they were in the same situation. I think that Tim Duncan was the difference in that San Antonio unit. They were a big-time player in Tim Duncan away from getting right back in the middle of being a Western Conference champion or being a championship contender. Because before they get with Tim Duncan, they're a playoff team. They get Tim Duncan makes them a championship team. And he makes them a championship team because of what he does offensively and defensively, just like what Magic did.
Got you. Yo, Dale, talk to us. Hey, we got about 15 minutes left in this video. Y'all get us up to 1,000 likes before this ends.
Hold on,
Go ahead, Dale.
I'm
Magic.
going Mr.
Magic.
I'm going Mr. Fundamental.
Why is that?
There's nothing to be said what Tim Duncan did. Yeah, it's like just go to the
He's
next
more
person.
value for the winning.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Hold up, ticket. Hold up. I'm gonna let you cap. Let Fluent get the
I'm gonna stay consistent. It's Magic, and I've always said it's Magic, and I told you I'm gonna answer Magic to everything except for Kobe. It's Magic because the Spurs, people forget the Spurs were a good, really like a championship team, and the only reason they get them fucking hold on.
Hey, Lo, don't do that. Tone, hold on, Tone. Lo, don't do that. They was decimated by injury. The only reason why they got the #1 pick because they were decimated by injury the year before that. That's the only reason why. Go ahead, Tone. I'm sorry.
They won a championship, what, 2 years earlier? No,
The Spurs?
won a championship.
No, they didn't win a championship. No.
That was the Rockets. And
No.
David Robinson, sorry, you're right. They didn't win a championship, but they were a playoff.
They was in the Western Conference Championship in 1995.
Oh, you're right.
Western Conference champion.
They was in the Western Conference Championship in 1995. Yes, they were.
1 year, just one. They just got that one when Hakeem did whatever he wanted to David Robinson.
So they were already a team that was very, very good playoff team. David Robinson gets hurt.
Yes, he did. I remember all of this. They got Tim Duncan.
Only reason they stink, and that's the only reason they get Tim Duncan. So they were a very, very good team. You're right. I apologize. I correct myself. Not a championship team. And the only reason they get Tim Duncan is because David Robinson misses that season. If he doesn't miss that season, there's no Tim Duncan on that team. So,
but after David Robinson come back from injury, he's never the same player he was before.
Wait. Hold on for a second, Dale. Why are you fighting this, Lo? I mean, David Robinson did win the if I'm not mistaken, David Robinson, didn't he win the league MVP in 1995? And 2 years before that, he was the defensive player of the year. So why are we talking about this Spurs team? Right, in 93, he won the defensive player of the year. Not only that, he won the league MVP in 95. They had Sean Elliott. I ain't talking about, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about Sean Elliott being a 17 to 18 a game guy. I'm talking about Avery. I'm talking about Avery Johnson being who he was. That unit was the same unit, healthy, when they got Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan was that dude from the door, just like Magic was. Only I think that
Magic players, but hold on, Magic players you're naming were better than every player you named. For Tim Duncan. Exactly.
Which is exactly why I said Magic.
Yeah, tell me, Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson.
Okay. Let's answer the question. I'm gonna answer the question.
No. He said, who had more impact on winning? It was Magic Johnson. I'm gonna tell you why. And this afternoon, I got your back. You should have said this. Tim Duncan never won back-to-back. He never won a back-to-back chip. How
He never played with Kareem Worthy.
Hold on.
Bobby Scott, Norm Nixon.
I'm not finished yet. Hold on, Lo. I'm not finished yet. And then he won championships, and he wasn't the main guy on the team when he won those chips. Those later chips, Tony Parker had stepped up and taken over the role.
I was going to say, he wanted to be
Let me ask you a question. For all of Magic's 5 championships, he had finals MVP.
No, he didn't win finals MVP every year.
I know.
Who had better coaching up until the Pat Riley? It was.
Wait. We're not dissing Pat here. I'm not dissing Pat. Okay.
So how long was it till Pat
Pat's
Riley?
different, boy.
It was year 2 or 3 of Magic. He got him in the first couple of years.
he got him in 82.
Yeah,
He got him in 80. He got him in 82. He got him in 82.
Duncan got one less NBA championship, dog. Cut it out. They never won back-to-back.
They got the same.
I'm sorry, they got Matt. He got Riley in year 3. I'm sorry, he got Pat Riley in year 3.
They got 5. They both got 5.
Listen what I said. They never won back-to-back championships, And on top of that, Tim Duncan was not considered the main guy on more of those teams than Magic was on his
Who
team.
was? How many? Just tell me a number. How many?
Right.
How many?
And I got another question after that.
Tim Duncan was the man on the first three.
Tim Duncan's phenomenal and underrated, but he didn't have the impact on the game as Magic did.
All right, so let me answer the question to what y'all want to know. San Antonio was not this great elite. No, they won. They made it to the conference finals one time.
2 years before they got Tim Duncan. Don't make it sound like they made it to the conference finals one time, which was like 8 years ago. It was 2 years before they got Tim Duncan. Two.
The things that happened in those 2 years very important because David Robinson got hurt and was never the same player again. So I know he wasn't the same player again because then when we get to 99, let's get to 99.
I don't want to talk about 99, but we got to get to it.
But 99, they won a championship.
Mhm.
Tim Duncan's a Finals MVP. He's putting up great numbers. You talking about second year? Tim Duncan came into the NBA was All NBA, All Rookie,
Or first team, I think, or second team.
He was first team All NBA.
Mhm.
Yep, as a rookie.
He was second team All. He was a second team All League defender as a rookie. That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there's only two other players who've been able to say they've been able to make it as a rookie.
So let me ask. Hold on. This is my question. You got it. Go ahead, Lo. Go ahead. Yep.
So then, if David Robinson was this great of a player and all this talent was around him, and oh my God, Greg Popovich in 2000 when Tim Duncan got hurt, bro, why did they get knocked out in the first round by Phoenix? They got knocked out in the first round by
Stephon Marbury, I think.
No, not even Marbury.
It wasn't Steph.
No, name me a player who you think was on that team. Name me.
Oh my
I thought
God.
it was Steph's son.
So
It
first,
was Kevin Johnson. They were so desperate for guard play because Jason Kidd got hurt that they took Kevin Johnson out of retirement so they could play. David Robinson couldn't lead that team past that team, bro. David Robinson in that series shot 37% from the field.
make sure, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Lo. So tell everybody where David Robinson was at that point. Don't make it sound like David Robinson was David Robinson of 1995. Tell everybody who David Robinson was during that point.
That's what we're saying.
And what?
The point I'm making is that Tim Duncan was able to win a championship with that caliber of David Robinson.
Yeah, that's what we're
He
saying.
was the So David Robinson was the same player in 2000 that he was when he got him in 1997. He was the same dude.
We're talking about 99.
But the question is who's more impactful?
Right.
Hold on, not in a year.
Right.
For a career.
Right.
We can keep going. We're talking about not only did Tim Duncan play longer, he's also being able to make the playoffs longer. He's also able to have a level of consistency winning for the entire time.
Only number 8 seed.
Add on top of the fact, even when they won again, bro, David Robinson was even worse.
He was over.
We're in their rookie and sophomore season.
Right.
Tim Duncan was not playing.
He was in year 6.
He was not.
And they were together for a long time.
For running
No, but they were together for a long time.
It's like saying he's the running back. He's the running back. Magic is the quarterback. It's the guy who has his ball in the hands is more
Oh,
impactful.
so then that's the second part. Those San Antonio Spurs team built their identity off of defense,
Right.
not based off of Tony Parker and all them scoring all these points. It was off of defense, especially in the first 3 years when they won a championship.
Right.
It was off of defense.
Right.
And then the offense, even with Tony Parker and them handling the ball in Ginobili, they still ran the offense through Tim Duncan.
Correct.
So the offense,
best player in the playoffs. Why he was the best player in the finals? The year they beat LeBron James, Tim Duncan was the best player in that series.
and guess what? Here's where Magic Johnson wasn't either.
Okay, but time out.
That is
Let me ask you this question, Lo.
everybody.
Let me put this on your brain real quick, Lo. You ever seen Irvin Magic Johnson get benched in the NBA Finals? I saw Popovich bench the great Tim Duncan and lose a championship. Bench and put him on the bench.
I've seen Magic Johnson play so bad they call him Tragic Johnson.
He was bad.
He never got benched. Tim Duncan.
They should have benched him.
No, he wasn't that bad. No, he wasn't that bad.
They
No.
had an entire game. Magic Johnson threw away an entire game in that series.
He didn't throw it. He did turn the ball over at the end of the game. Yes, he did. He did turn the ball over. He did turn the ball over in that game.
Ticket, why do
and then after this we gotta move on.
Yep.
Ticket, why do you keep bringing up that Duncan didn't win back to back? He has 5. Hold on, he has 5 and Magic had 5.
Because it's called dominant. Hold on. It's called
Okay.
you're a true dominant team. Most of the dominant teams in the history of the game went back to back. Look, the Warriors, they won back to back.
No, okay, you don't have to. I get it. No, I get that. Now the next question. You answered it. You answered it. No, right.
The Celtics,
Okay.
back to back with Bird.
Okay.
Jordan, back to back. Tim
Okay.
Duncan is the only dude that didn't win back to back.
Perfect. Okay, you got it there. You said that.
Okay,
Whatever.
back to back.
So, okay, listen now. So, after Magic won back to back, when the next time he won a championship after that?
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
I'm just asking
In
you a
12
question.
years, in 12 years, Magic goes to 9 finals. In 20
12
years, Duncan goes to 6.
Yeah, they go back.
Okay,
No.
but
See,
it's
this
not
is
a
shit
thank you.
I'm
It's not a thank you. So,
talking about. Same market
Yeah.
as LeBron was,
exactly.
right?
It's not a thank you. So now I
That
have
man
a
was
question.
in a weak. Magic Johnson was in a weak conference.
So let me ask
A
you another
weak
question.
What?
Listen.
Yeah. The Western Conference was whack. The Western Conference was whack. Let's talk about it. The Western Conference was whack.
Tim Duncan was in the conference that was by far, not
Yeah.
even close, by far the most talented conference of your lifetime, of anybody else's lifetime, and
Listen.
still got to the finals as often as he did. Still won as many championships, Magic, and still won
That's
as
a fact.
many finals MVPs. There was never a moment where Tim Duncan played with a player as great as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There was never a moment
Ever.
like that. There was never a moment where he was on a team with four.
05 Duncan won.
four
07
Hall of Famers,
Duncan
practically
won.
all in their prime. It
Well,
never ever
Why you
happened.
ain't never getting Kobe that
Ooh,
same
Lowe's
love?
turned up on your ass.
So if that's
No, I applaud Kobe for beating him. I applaud. I sincerely applaud him.
Did
We're
Duncan-
talking about Magic Johnson and
Did
the
Duncan take a
caliber
worse
of
team
roster
than the 91
he
Lakers
had
in the
on him.
finals?
Say it again?
Did Duncan take a worse team than the 91 Lakers to the finals?
The 1990 Spurs was worse.
the 90.
Robinson, the following year, couldn't get out the first round.
Yeah, the 99 Spurs, the 99 Spurs that beat the Knicks was crazy. The 99 Spurs that beat the Knicks was crazy.
Hey, that was a
Yeah, it was
lockout
crazy.
season.
30 games that season, dude. They played
It was 50. It was 50.
That was a lockout season.
Come on.
Let's keep it real.
The Knicks
Now
were
we're
80.
saying
Well, the
lockout
Knicks
seasons
were
don't
80.
matter now.
Wait,
No,
here we go.
no. What we saying is, we all know that a lockout season is different because teams don't get that much time for preparation in the off season. You really don't get time to get in a rhythm during the season because you're playing a short amount of games. And that season, the Knicks were a surprise team. Now everybody thinks of the
The
season.
Knicks were the 8th seed for the crying out loud. The 8th seed.
Went to the finals, man. Cut it out, bro.
So again,
That Knick team was not an 8. Go ahead, Lo. I'm sorry.
They weren't the 8th
They
seed.
weren't as good as they weren't as good as you see. But again, Tim Duncan and the rest of that roster also had the same 50 games, the same preparation.
Everybody else.
If anything, they had less because Tim Duncan had just gotten the league, so it wasn't like he built up 7-10 years of chemistry with David Robinson, and then they got to the
You're
finals.
right. And you know what else he didn't have to do? You know what else he didn't have to do? Hold on. You know what else he didn't have to do? He didn't have to go through an 82-game grueling season. He only had to go through the same as college, 45 games.
It was 50 games that year. It was a 50 game. It was a 50-game season that year.
Yo, fluent. I don't get it.
For every point, there's a counterpoint. That's all I'm saying.
No, I don't understand that one because that wasn't that wasn't his rookie year. That was his second year. So he went through 82 his first year when he was rookie of the year, when he was first team all this. So he did it. He did that ruling already. So
No, but
that's fine.
The year that he goes to win a championship, though, he didn't. It's easier when you play less games this season. You know, the more games you play, the more.
If it was easier, then why didn't the Lakers win a game? It was easier
When they didn't win an 8-game win
in '99.
in 99. Oh, when they got swept by San Antonio?
They got swept.
That was a better team. That San Antonio team was a better team than the Lakers were.
But no, it was easier. So why didn't he win one game?
Because that San Antonio team was a better team. Wait a minute. What's the? I'm trying to understand what your stance is. Your stance, low stance.
He's saying it's easier. Why couldn't somebody else just do it?
Yo, Lo, do me one question. Read me the roster of that 99 Lakers team that got swept.
Yo, read this roster, then we got
Because
You ain't got to read it. I'll tell you right now.
most of them got swept. Most of them
It was Derek Fisher. It was Derek Fisher, Rick Fox.
It's Glenn Rice, Kobe, Shaq, Derek Fisher, Rick Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So they just
Robert Ory coming off the bench.
And Brian Shaw.
So,
Oh, they didn't get Brian Shaw to the next year.
right. So
No, they ain't get Ron Harper to the next year. You talking about Derek Harper? Yeah,
So
right.
So they switch Harper's and they switch Glenn Rice with who?
No, they didn't switch him with anybody. That's the same crew that won the championship the next year.
That's the same crew that won 3 in a row. So Tim Duncan in his second year swept a Lakers team that just went on to 3-peat following year.
No, Glenn Rice left.
Glenn Rice was
in 2000, but they didn't play the Spurs in 2000 with David Robinson. He couldn't handle it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That score was there, and they got swept by.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Now, well, hold on, though, Dell, because that logic doesn't work because the year after that they mopped the floor with them dudes in the Western Conference Championship in 2001. Walked right by them dudes. Not mopped the Lakers mopped them, in the Western Conference 2001, and not only.
But what's the name is a different player than too though. David Robinson.
That's the point, right? And that's the logic that you're trying to sell me, Lo. That David Robinson was a different player. Of course, he was a different player in 2003 when the San Antonio Spurs win the NBA championship. Now with Magic, Jabbar is not the same dude in '87 that he was in '80. Jabbar is not the same. Jabbar is not in '87. Well, first of all, David Robinson at no point was ever better than Jabbar. I'm not gonna fight that. That part I'll never argue. No.
Even relative to who they were as players, was Jabbar closer to prime Jabbar in the beginning of Magic's career versus David Robinson closer to prime David Robinson when Tim Duncan's career? Because I would argue Kareem was definitely closer to what prime Kareem looked like than David Robinson.
Well, you talking about his injury too, so that matters. The fact that he got hurt, that matters, because we talking about a dude when Tim Duncan got him, he was in year 7, so he was in his prime. He just got hurt. That was the difference.
And then also, to the last point, Dell, they completely demolished him in 01 and they beat him again in 2002. But then in 2003 rolled around.
Yes.
Tim Duncan yet again was able to lead them past the Kobe and Shaq.
Yep.
And he did so. I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, David Robinson on the team. David Robinson, 37.
He was over. He was over. He was over. He was over.
Manu Ginobili's on the team. He was a rookie at that time, and Tony Parker was a sophomore. So the point I'm making is that when they're great players on the team, yes, they inevitably turn out to be that great. Tim Duncan proved that with subpar talent, for relative to where they were at that point in their career, he was still able to lead his teams beyond Kobe and Shaq. He was able to lead his team beyond what's my name?
Detroit. He's been Detroit. Sure, absolutely.
The same Detroit team that beat the Lakers the year before, he was able to go past them.
Yep. And I can say the same thing about Magic too. We talking about Tragic Johnson, who the next year they end up going into Boston and beating them, and that was on the strength of Jabbar and Magic. And I can say the same thing about Magic, who 2 years after that was the Finals MVP, who ended up surpassing Bird and becoming that player, and that was on the strength of him getting better. So I can say the same thing about him too. It's not the same thing.
I keep bringing up 91 because the 91 Lakers were not, other than Magic, a great team. If you look at their roster versus the Spurs roster, you bring up, and yet they got by Houston Rockets with Hakeem Olajuwon, Golden State, Portland Trail Blazers went to 2 finals in 3 years. Like, it's not like they didn't play. When you say the West was weak, it's a pretty damn good team.
But no, he talking now. They'll talking and Low talking about the 80s. Now the Low talking about the 80s. Low was talking about the 80s. Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry, as you were saying.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Ron. We got to keep it pushing. I got one more player for you guys. You guys don't know who this player is. Yeah, I had to add one more person in there because it wouldn't be right if I didn't add this in this rookie. Now,
That'll be the goal.
Now, chat. I'm about to put this up. You guys go vote too. When you go vote, like the video as well. It's 1,600 people in here. We have about 1,000 likes. Y'all get us up to about 1,100, maybe even 1,200 if y'all on your job. Last player, who's more impactful to me? Magic Johnson or Steph Curry?
Oh my God, give me a break.
Magic or Steph?
Give me a break. No, it ain't.
That's a good one too.
I'm good.
Hey, we got 2 goal points.
For me, it is.
I already know who I got, so I can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm going Steph.
What? Hold up, Tiki. Let him give his logic first.
And then
Logic, I'm just
if you
going
want to
with
dive
Steph.
on them,
That's not Dell. That's not good enough. It's not that's not good enough, Dell, because I said so. Ain't no 12-year-olds up here. Why are you going with Steph?
It's not about it being 12 years old. It's the fact of the matter is when I look at like Steph and what he generates
Mhm.
winning for the Warriors all the time, I think that's more impactful than what with the Magic.
Wow. Go ahead.
What do you mean all the time? No, what Steph now, like what Steph been since Steph became Steph.
When did Steph become Steph? So we clear. It's 2022 now. When did he become Steph?
No, I would say it's a game that it's a series that I think they lost against the Spurs. Mark Jackson was coaching.
Okay.
And it was a hell of I think it was the Spurs they lost.
I think that's 2013.
No, that's
And it was
2014.
a hell of a battle. And I'm like,
2014.
oh, this about to get crazy.
Okay, so he ain't Steph yet. He on his way to be. He ain't Steph yet. He on his way to being Steph.
No, it's 2013, 2014. They lost.
Like I said, year 6, the first time he's an All-Star, 2013-14.
Oh, is that year 6? Okay, that's when Steph was like, okay, and then 2014 lost to the Clippers, and then 2015 MVP, and then it's been.
So that's the logic we going with. Ticket. I'm gonna give you the floor.
No, that's the logic. That's
what I'm talking about. That's the logic you going with. Ticket. I'm gonna go ahead, Lo. Who's next?
I'm going. I got Magic.
You got Magic. Okay.
And just because of the immediate impact coming into the league, even when Kareem and them were declining, still putting impactful numbers on the board. Yeah, I gotta go Magic. This year though, Curry was. This year was very.
And that's
It was a vindication. I think this year was a vindication year. Sure.
His immediate impact on the rookie year for Magic, I could go, bro. They get to play that and play for 2 years. A new person with Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, this year was impressive.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's Steph different, boy. Y'all gonna have to.
Yeah, he different. Hold on, he different. He with that role. He with that stacking the deck too. Because look, let's be honest. That's why I want to look, watch this. Listen what I'm saying.
You talk to
Well, y'all say that. Listen what I'm saying. Because I want you to be very, very clear with this. First of all, Mr. Dell, let's go back and look at, like you said, Magic was dominant when he came in the door. It took
Amazing.
4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
Secondly, it's almost Steph Curry winning. The first championship Steph Curry won, a lot of people question that because it was injuries all throughout that run. And
Okay.
he played for LeBron James' team without his 2 second best players. So people question that. But then what did he do?
Hold on. Do you question that?
Hold
Don't
on.
talk about people.
Hold on.
Do you question that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Ticket, just wait. Ticket, I muted you. No, Ticket, I muted you because when you ask questions, you be pressing them to answer it. So
I'm
you the answer.
I'm saying he went back and got walked down the next year. And
No, I don't care. In 2015, you
instead of going back with the same team, against LeBron, what did he do? He ran and got KD.
He ain't had nothing to do with that. He didn't have nothing to do with that. No.
Listen, they could have went back with the same team against LeBron James. But guess what? They knew LeBron had their number to smoke them out. So they didn't want to go back like that with LeBron. So they put the cheat code in and when they got KD. So them 2 chips don't count on this one to me. Because KD was a final.
Pause there. Pause. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So you see, Ticket, this is why this always gets fishy to me because I've been back and forth with you with this KD thing, this LeBron thing, a lot.
Fishy. I like fishy. I like that word.
So right now, you're in a way boasting LeBron to shit on Steph.
Right.
Because
Hold on, Ticket. Go ahead, Dale. Keep going.
Because I've heard you say that if Draymond came back from the walk down, they would have won.
You went out, Dale. Sorry. Yeah, you say what you said again, Dale.
I've heard you boast like shit on Braun and him coming back and winning. He has to win. That's right. He had to get it back. They should have lost and all that stuff. So it's like you go back and forth when it seems to your point. Hold on. That's all I'm saying. It seems like you go back and forth when you're arguing.
No, watch this. Which brings up my point. I'm glad you said that. Yes, I felt like if Draymond would have stayed, the momentum was in
did you think though? You keep bringing other people. That's not how you feel about. That's not how you feel about. That's not how you feel about.
I agree. Hold on. I agree with you. But what I'm saying is that the next year is what killed Curry for me. Because when you went and got KD for those 2 years and he won 2 Finals MVPs on your watch, that killed him for those 2 chips. So the 2 other ones, cool, no problem. He got them. But you can't put him over Irvin Magic Johnson because Curry got 2 championships where you legitimately question, was he the dude on those teams?
But I don't. But you're
I don't either.
Point that I don't agree with because Magic got 5 championships and he wasn't the dude or whatever. The dude 5 times. It's the dude. You know what I'm saying? Because when I say impact, I still look at Magic for those championships the most impactful on that team because he's there. It's not about he's playing. They're not getting there without Magic. I'm not debating Kobe's impact on that 3-peat because he didn't get Finals MVP. I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I had an argument about playing impact, even though he plays like shit. But he's there on the court, and that helps. That's your impact.
Yeah, okay, for the same way you said about Draymond, which I admitted, you're right. I did say that, but I also said, put this on there, that they would have lost the first chip. I said they would have won the second one, but they would have lost the first one if LeBron James' team was healthy. They would have lost that first one, and so now we're still taking the chip away from them. And Chill,
you can't take it away because he won.
No, I'm saying that because you have question marks around that, bro. So what I'm saying to you is the 2 that they went and got KD, I really can't count those 2 in Curry's favor. He won the chips, yes, they won, but I can't say Curry because they had to go get KD to win. If he would have won one of those 2 without KD, we ain't got no argument. But against Magic Johnson.
So I got a quick question, and
Ask your question, and I need you to tap in to Chill.
Yeah.
You're taking that at Magic instead.
I'm
As a more impactful place.
number one. So the 73-9 Warriors, greatest regular season team in NBA history, had the biggest collapse in NBA history. James's team, when they were healthy, beat them. So why would they beat them the year? Let's make sure we clear on that. Him and Klay Thompson, game 7, 12 for 36, 6 for 24 on the long ball. Both of those guys, 2. Now, with that being said, why would they beat them in the first year if Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love is healthy, but they lose to them the next year when they were a better team? What do you mean Curry wasn't healthy? Lo, you're not selling me that. You're not selling me that he wasn't healthy. He was out there. If he was out there, he was ready to rock and roll. If he wasn't, if he wasn't, because I can tell you right now, Lo, if they would have won that NBA championship, I wouldn't hear a peep out of you about Steph Curry being hurt. I wouldn't hear a peep out of you about Bogut not being in the series. I wouldn't hear a peep out of you about Andre Iguodala not playing against the Houston Rockets and they serving them. I wouldn't hear a peep out of you if they'd have won the NBA championship. But the fact that they lost in the dramatic fashion that they lost in, now all of a sudden Curry wasn't healthy. So there's no reason for me to think that if Cleveland would have beat them, if Irvin and Love was healthy in 2014-15, there's no reason for me to think they wouldn't have beaten them again next year. There's no reason for me to think that. Now, with that being said,
Okay, hold on.
now
Okay, I'll ask the question to the last.
was Magic healthy in 89? Yes, he was healthy in 89. He won the league MVP that year.
Not talking about in the finals.
He wasn't in the finals in 89. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. He was in the final. He was in the finals. Well, he was to go. There's a difference. He did not after game 1, if I'm not mistaken, after game 1, when he tore his hamstring, he was done for the series. That didn't happen to Steph Curry. It's not the same thing. Actually, he played the third game. He played what, 5 minutes? He played barely 5 minutes in that game. Don't even go there, Lo. No, he was not even close to the same thing. Give me a break. You are not trying to sell us on that. Add that to the fact that if I'm
He played 3. The only he missed game 3. He played 5 games, but the other 2 he played 41, 29 minutes. So
this game 2 is the game he got hurt. Game 2 is the game he got hurt. Game 2 is the game he got hurt. Game 3, he played 5 minutes basically. He didn't play game 4. Detroit mopped them out the playoffs. Yeah, Detroit mopped them out the playoffs. Now, to answer your question, Ron, I think that Magic was more impactful than Steph Curry. Number one, the same logic that I've had the entire time. The fact that he was that dude right from the beginning, way more than Steph Curry. Not only was he that, he was more impactful on the offensive end of the floor. And he was just as impactful, if not more impactful, on the defensive end of the floor, speeding the game up, playmaking, and doing all of those good things. So when I think about Steph Curry, who became that guy, I've said this to you guys in the past, I take being an All-NBA performer very seriously. And for Steph Curry to not make the All-NBA team until year 5, we're talking about a dude who almost half his career, he wasn't that dude. So now, if his career ended today, Steph Curry in year 13,
he was hurt. Like he missed like 20, 30 games because of the end.
and I'm glad you brought that up too. I'm glad you brought that up too, Dale. Yeah, that's very important. You know why that played and the reason why that plays
he missed some games.
Yeah, right. And Dell, the reason why that matters because now we got to question your durability. And when we question your durability, we're questioning your greatness. Can you hold up? Because
well, we ain't questioning no more.
Let me ask you a question, Chill. Ain't it the same first finals that LeBron James they were saying that he had more MVP votes than Steph Curry that series? So you talking about impact on winning? Steph Curry wasn't even. He lost. Andre Iguodala won Finals MVP.
James said he was.
Listen. That was the dumbest thing I've ever. Other than from game. That was people saying LeBron James should have been Finals MVP.
But Iguodala winning it was dumb. That should.
Yo. Do you agree? Do you agree? Braun should have won Final MVP.
I'm more.
I don't think no player.
All right. Okay. So don't even bring up what other people say.
I don't think. Listen.
Right.
I do agree. I do agree with Iggy winning Finals MVP. I do agree with that.
No, you don't, bro.
I'm gonna tell you why. Tell us why. Steph Curry got locked down. He got locked down a game and a half that series by a dude named Matthew Dellavedova. And also the series changed when they put Iggy in the starting lineup, put him on LeBron James because he was giving you on both sides of the ball. He gave you an up and offense, and he gave you a great effort on defense.
Okay, pause. All right, pause. So you started your take and saying, hold on.
It started when Curry was starting averaging 40 points.
Exactly. You started your take
Curry averaging 40.
Ticket. Hold on, Ticket. You started your take by saying LeBron should have won Finals MVP.
I didn't. I said people were saying that he should have won MVP.
Okay, right. Okay, that's you. People were saying LeBron should have won Finals MVP. Those same people are voting for someone that guarded LeBron. So how should LeBron still win if they lost, but the person that was guarding him got it? I'm trying to understand.
That whole thing is dumb.
I'm just trying to understand.
Hold on. All I'm saying is this: I'm not the voter, but for the people who voted, for the people who voted that was at the games, they felt like Steph Curry wasn't heads and shoulders.
And they were dumb.
And they were very dumb. That was sad.
The Warriors that won the chip. He won the MVP. Just stop. Let's just.
They were dumb.
Hey, so it's clearly. Look, I got to tell you this: if it wasn't for this year, this actually wouldn't even be a debate.
It's
Everyone
not.
would say Magic.
That's a fact.
The reason why everyone would say Magic is because when Steph Curry's not on, so let's look at that 3-1 series lead that they lost. He's not shooting poorly. What he does or what he provides the team is less than Magic. So Magic wasn't known as a scorer. If Magic's shot was off, that's okay. He'll distribute. He'll play make. He'll do other things more so than Steph. I'm not saying Steph doesn't, but I think more so than Steph. So who's more impactful to winning? I got Magic, but it's again, it's a lot closer because of what Steph showed us this year.
Hey, Chill and Ticket, I have one more question I want to ask both of y'all. So in 2015, y'all had Braun them win beating the Warriors if Kyrie and Love don't get hurt, right?
I think that they do beat them.
Okay. So and they won, of course, in 2016 with the walk down, right? So they won 15, but if they didn't get hurt,
I think we have I think I'm not gonna say winning, Dell, but I think it's a different series. I do. I mean, I think it's a different series. Yeah.
So that be back to back. So why do both of y'all hate the KD so much?
Because KD was right there.
Oh my God.
Hold on, listen. No.
That's why I asked the question.
I'm gonna say this again. Hold on. KD was right there. He had already went to an NBA Finals, and then he was one game away from going back to the Finals again. You left and went to the team that smoked you out.
So
3 games.
Dell, that's
my question is, did they need him or not?
Did they need Kevin Durant? Did the Warriors need Kevin Durant? Oh, that was absolutely the logic. Sure, that was the logic. Sure, that was the logic.
It's two answers.
Go ahead, Tom.
Did they need KD? No, because they had been to the finals and just won 73 games. Did it make it a lot easier for them to win with KD?
Yes, it did.
And you know what? And I don't even blame. Hold on, I've said this. I don't blame KD. KD was a free agent. He went to a team, and if I'm the Warriors and I'm saying LeBron stacked the deck, well, I'm going to do it too. So that's
so if Bron run it back after winning, if him and Kyrie like how they ran it back after they won that shit,
Yeah.
and KD don't go to the Warriors, who do y'all have winning?
Listen, Draymond Green already came out and said this. Draymond Green just said that they had
That's
their
all I'm
number.
asking.
Draymond Green said, without KD, we don't beat them. The dude y'all praise, $100 million man, the glorified role player, the dude you call Hall of Famer, he just said it. He came out in an interview and said nationally, you can look it up. He said if KD did not come to us, we lose to LeBron James. End of story, period. He was in the locker room. He was there. No cut, no cap, fresh off the boat.
And Draymond has said a lot of crazy things.
It's on you, Ron.
He said crazy.
Ron, when I think about the impact that Magic Johnson has had on winning, we talk a lot about Steph Curry's ability to score. Magic has more 2010 games than Steph Curry. Steph Curry has, I think, 54. Magic Johnson has over 200 2010 games. He's got more 30-10 games than Steph Curry. He's got more 2020. He's got more 2020 games than Steph Curry. And with all of that stuff being said, that stuff impacted him winning more. Now, we talk a lot about how Steph Curry's ability to score was better than Magic. Well, the proof is in the pudding. Magic's ability to score, and that's not including the 25 and 18 games, the 30 and 9 games. That doesn't include those games. So Magic was doing all of this stuff while he was running around from day one. He didn't do this. It didn't take year 5, year 6 for this to happen. This was going on from the door, and it went on the entire time, the 12 years that he was in the league. And the last thing that I'm going to say, Ron, is I'm not the guy that's running around here. There's a guy running around here saying that Bob Cousy is the best point guard that I've ever seen. That was 60 years ago. Magic retired in 1991. That was 30 years ago. Do I think that in the next 20 years, I'm never going to see another point guard better than Magic Johnson? I don't think so. I don't know that I'm not going to see somebody better than him. It's just not this guy. That's all.
I hope we find somebody better because
That'll suck.
I hope not, as a Magic and Laker fan. But that's the other thing, right? It goes to the thing of winning. Curry's phenomenal, greatest shooter of all time, does so many great things. Like I said, if it wasn't for this year, but Magic could step in and play center and drop 42 and 15. Curry can't do that. He does other things.
Because he wasn't 6'8".
Yeah, that matters. That matters. That matters.
We gotta wrap this up. It was a pleasure having all you fellas on here. Thank you to everybody for watching from the end. Like the video on the way out. Tomorrow Wednesday, you know what time it is. We got Players Choice the show bright and early in the morning, 9 Pacific time, 12 noon. On the East Coast. We also have Players Choice Gridiron tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific. Y'all be sure to tune in. My man Fluent will be up there with
Week
me.
1, baby. Week 1, baby.
You know what time it is. It's a big week coming up in the NFL. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to catch y'all at the same time next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate y'all. Take it light, guys. Take it light. Hey. Take it light, but take it. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, now you're more fluent.
Alrighty. Well, that's that. What'd you guys think? Let me close this window real quick. Grab some water. What do you guys think? I don't know, man. I don't think I was that good. I think I missed a lot of points that I could have made. Got more 20. Got more 20. And in the playoffs. Yo. Mm-hmm. So that was that. Yeah. That was that. Well, you know how it is, man. The logic that it's what's good for James isn't good for everybody else. So I still have a difficult time with that. Yes, I do. I do have a difficult time with that, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'd much rather get with I wanted to get with you guys. Yeah. I wanted to get you guys in the stream so you guys could see what was going on. But yeah, that's what it was. No, you did not, Kendrick. There was not a lot of Ben Wallace nonsense going on. No, there was not. Mm-mm. Improving your athleticism. A lot of calisthenics are what improved my athleticism. A lot of pull-ups, a lot of push-ups, a lot of bench jumps, a lot of jump rope. That stuff helps footwork. Pull-ups, that stuff helps core work. Push-ups, that helps upper body strength. Jump rope, that helps footwork and speed. Excuse me, that helps footwork and speed. Lunges, things like that, which can improve your athleticism. So, but yeah, that was that. But that's it, guys. Glad y'all was able to catch it. Glad y'all was able to catch it. So it's good to see you guys. I'm glad y'all showed up. Until then, take it light. We take it.